Stop talking about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle haze.
Do we have another benevolent service? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent and your friends over?
I am moving on. I think I'm coming out the fire closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
Not have the first place, not have a flat earth, and things making sense.
Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another edition of Jam's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. We're back once again with the show they don't want you to see. And in tonight's show, we bring you the very best of the last 2 weeks in Conspiratardia, including Q Anon. It's all true, says Alex Jones, and the arrests are about to happen. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan admires some extraterrestrial vases. It's Easter, so of course we have an egg, and of course it was made by aliens. On the Flat Earth, Flatzoid and Marty Leeds say sorry, but not for their existence. David Weiss tries a crypto scam, Bryce Mitchell gets punched in the face, and Oakley gets banned, plus ex-flatties with Jeranism, and the final experiment, the movie. All this and much, much more in tonight's awesome show, so please stick around. I am your host, Jem, and as always, joining me with their insightful and humorous commentary are just some of the cool kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. Good evening, everyone.
Hey there.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Evening.
Good. It's good that everyone said hello at least. It's a good start. Anyway, if you'd like to make a comment, you can join the Discord server and join in. Or you can super chat the show by clicking on that little $sign on the YouTube chat. Or better still, if you click the PayPal link in the description, you can bung us some money that way. And that will be very, very gratefully received. It takes me many hours to put this show together. So any encouragement, financial encouragement, is always very, very gratefully received. So if you can see your way clear to buying me a coffee or something like that, please do. Thank you very much. Now then, what have we got first? We start tonight with a very quick clip of a very cool guy. Watch till the end. That's good, isn't it? No, I don't think many people would have done that. What button do I press? Oh, that one.
That's great.
I always have this sort of blank space at the beginning of the show where I think, which button does what?
Did he get hit by a car or did he hit someone? I couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell, could you? But I just love the way he turned the music up. Right, next, some AI deepfake voices that are causing amusement and confusion even in the USA. Take a look.
Lock buttons in several cities on the peninsula appear to have been hacked. They're now playing prank messages using voices that sound a lot like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
KTV's Betty Yu has details on this high-tech hoax from Redwood City.
Hi, this is Mark Zuckerberg, but real ones call me the Zuck. You know, it's normal to feel uncomfortable or even violated as we forcefully insert AI into every facet of your conscious experience. And I just want to assure you, you don't need to worry because there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. Anyway, see ya.
This intersection near Broadway and El Camino Real is one of several that were reportedly hacked. Some believe these signals in Redwood City may have been chosen for the prank because they're just blocks from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative headquarters.
Just so disorienting. It's very cool protest art. I have no idea how they did it and got into the system.
I thought it was funny. I don't condone hacking like public services to have a humorous message, but I laughed about it.
This video posted on Reddit shows a similar message near Meta's headquarters in Menlo Park. And in Palo Alto, city officials said the voice feature found on about a dozen crosswalk signals downtown may have been tampered with Friday. The city has since disabled the audio until repairs can be made. Signal operations were not affected.
I think it speaks to how the public should be more aware of what's going on with AI and the consequences of all of our data ending up in very centralized databases, especially when the government isn't necessarily under the democratic control that we'd hope to see. I don't mean the party, I mean the form of government that we all subscribe to.
A popular video posted on TikTok features a voice impersonating Elon Musk.
You know, they say money can't buy happiness, and yeah, okay. I guess that's true. God knows I've tried.
Redwood City said in a statement to KTVU, "We are aware that the crosswalk signal was hacked and that a neighboring city experienced a similar incident. Staff are actively working to investigate and resolve the issue as quickly as possible."
I think it also speaks to how careful we should be with our infrastructure, right? I mean, part of that being, I'd be interested what security features were actually on the stoplights.
We've also reached out to the city of Menlo Park for a response about these tampered signals. We've not yet heard back. In Redwood City, Betty Yu, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Well, that's fun, isn't it?
I blame the Chinese. Must be the Chinese.
Did anyone get the impression that that last guy that they were interviewing knew quite a bit about the security features?
Yeah.
And maybe he was the one who hacked it.
Did you see his shirt? Did you see his shirt had one of the nerdiest sayings ever? If you're not part of the
Yeah,
solution,
that's what
you're
made me
part
think
of the
he did it.
Maybe it was him.
All right.
Who moved me?
Some more AI slop now. This week, the internet is full of stuff like this. Enjoy.
Remember the good old days when kids held jobs? When a work ethic was something we learned young? Before the left crippled us with regulations saying we can't do this and we can't do that. And when a salary was your real allowance. We got soft people, too soft and too woke.
Mister, can we get down now? Please.
That's why I am introducing the SWEAT Act, Small Workers Earning Adult Treasure. Thanks to Florida Republicans, kids can finally work like they used to. All those fun and undesirable low-wage jobs, they are open now. Smell that? That's the sweet smell of success. 10-hour shifts. Love it. No more bedtime. There's a shift to cover. It's time for kids to be domestics. Or how about all those good factory jobs abandoned by the Latins? Better yet, there are some DEI openings. Come on, parents. Motivate your kids to work.
I will psychologically torment you.
I'm thinking we'll make child labor nationwide. You would like that, wouldn't you? Sign the SWEAT Act petition today. Make kids work again. You missed a spot. Really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me? Paid for by Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida State Legislature.
Yeah, there's loads of those around. Loads and loads.
That's hilarious.
That was pretty funny, Jim.
Sign of things to come.
Okay, we're pushing on. Next, some Q-tardery, brought to you by Alex Jones. Plus, an 8-year-old lie continues to be repeated.
And he showed me all the messages, high level, that 14,000 plus terabytes, videos, all of it, the hundreds of previously unidentified child victims of the CIA, Mossad, MI6 pedophile honeypot. He wouldn't say this on air, but the point is sources can't get involved, but there's the DC's investigating what it thinks is key, but it's just giving it to the field offices. Total transparency. They never do that. They're pumping it out across the country to FBI field offices saying, here's the whole file. any you folks volunteer, because they make you volunteer to look at this. This is child porn. This is kids getting raped. This is serious crimes. And they're just turning them loose. And he showed me the stuff in D.C., high level. He showed me people he knows in field offices going, holy shit, they just gave us the fuck, oh my God. And they've got to go in the secure, area to look at it. They're asking who's going to volunteer to go look at this stuff. So, let me tell you something. I've never seen child porn, and I'm blessed, but just reading transcripts of it in federal cases with some of this stuff, raping kids, murdering them, and stuff films, this is not for the faint of heart. And that's in the Sound of Freedom film. Is, based on true story. Like, most people have to quit in a few months. I mean, this is like, I've only seen a few car wrecks with dead people and once dead kids, and I still have nightmares. I mean, I'm a tough guy, but not seeing kids, arms chopped off, blood spraying. I mean, I can't handle it. So these people are beyond tough that can do this. And Trump's just putting it all out. This is just unbelievable.
This is the statistics. What's going on is insane. You ready? Listen to the numbers. Okay. Australia, an estimated 20,000 children are missing every year. Canada, 45,000. Germany, 100,000. India, 96,000. Jamaica, just under 2,000. Russia, 45,000. Spain, 20,000. United Kingdom, 112,000. United States, 460,000 children are missing a year. Just under 1 million children missing yearly. Wake the fuck up, people. Something real bad going on here. Fact check yourself at globalmissingkids.org.
So it's the same old bullshit, isn't it? Trump's putting it all out there. There's going to be arrests. Yeah, all right.
It's good that Alex Jones has decided to change his look after losing all the lawsuits.
Yeah.
So at least he looks like a different person.
And then
saner person.
And then this look at the numbers thing. This is the same lie that they've been telling since 2017, where these are the numbers of reports of missing children, not the number
that means
of
a million missing children.
Right. I mean, that
Not
figure,
realizing that each report could be duplicative or...
Right. That figure in the UK, 112,000, that's actually caused by 75,000 children. Because,
how many were returned?
Well, a lot of the kids that do this are serial offenders, so to speak. They'll do it multiple times. And each time they do it, it may get reported multiple times, right? There could be, both parents could report it, a sibling could report it, uncles, aunties, step-parents, all sorts of people might report it, right? So, and obviously most of them are found within a few hours, But they always use these figures in this distorted way to make people think that there's... every time you go in a shopping mall, the kids are just being plucked from their parents' hands and, spirited away to places, Anyway, on a brighter note, a short compilation of free energy type bullshit. Now, take a look.
This was the technology of our hidden history. Far more the decorative purpose and looks went into the design of these buildings from our hidden past. They all had purpose in generating free energy from the ether above and spreading it throughout the realm. We are far from the most advanced civilization that has ever walked this realm. We are merely the inheritors, living in a post-apocalyptic realm. The evidence of greatness left all around us. Research the mud flood and fall of Tartaria. Question everything, friends.
Remember, mercury is a living substance. It's just like water. And red mercury, when you put it in front of a mirror, you won't see the reflection. If you take mercury and you spin it in a circle like this, you create voltage. This is what, when you look at the old world buildings, the cathedrals, they had these orbs up on top of these cathedrals. Those orbs can contain mercury, and they're brass on the outside or gold on the outside. They're iron on the inside, and they got mercury in the center. And what would happen is if a lightning strikes or the bell would ring, you would get a spiral, which would take place, and you got free electricity simply by just a little bit of mercury. Now, mercury in the mouth is a different story. What about red mercury? That's a great one. So red mercury is mercury mixed with iron oxide. Remember, mercury is a living substance. That's what it is. It's just like water. So when you mix mercury with iron, it'll actually put it together. It won't eat it, but it will put it together. And that's where the whole red mercury comes from. And red mercury, when you put it in front of a mirror, you won't see the reflection, which is really fascinating. It's invisible, is what's really cool. Now, if you take mercury and mix it with other metals, it will begin to eat them because it's a living substance. We also talked about the ether, and this is really cool. So this book right here, if you see that, it says ether right here. And I always talk about in the 1920s, after the Rockefellers completely took over the educational system, the ether was removed. So I always talk about finding books from before the 1920s when the ether, the fifth element or spirit, chi, prana, orgone, still existed. And this is because when you have bankers and oil tycoons owning the educational system, then what happens is the ether begins to vanish. And let me just show you the little date on this book just for you guys to see, because this is really interesting. Here you go. I'm going to just kind of zoom in right there. That says 1919. Like I said, when you find books before the 1920s, you see a very different narrative. But as the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Rothschilds took over the educational system, books like this began to vanish. Because what it does is it makes people start to understand that we can tap in to the fifth element with a lightning rod and a weather vane, atmospheric energy, Herman Clausen, Nathan B. Stubblefield, Tesla, all these people. It makes you think about something different and it breaks the narrative. But that's why you don't learn about it. It's all woo-woo. You know, we've talked about that before, woo-woo. That's what it is, because they want you to be deterred from learning about it.
If you know how to do this, do it. M2M says, keep exposing the bullshit. Thank you very much for that super chat, Matt. I think that is that Matt? But thank you very much anyway, M2M.
You're welcome.
Very, very much appreciated.
Wasn't Red Mercury in that documentary Star Trek or something like that?
Oh, I don't know. I just think if they really have all these secrets of free energy that they've uncovered, make some fucking free energy for us all.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem too much to ask.
Stop paying for your own energy at least.
Right.
Even just a one-off demonstration, please.
Right.
Sure, a heavy metal element that's dangerous to toxic to living things is a living thing. Sure.
You know what they say though, that the hardest thing in constructing a free energy machine is figuring out where to hide the battery.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And he had such a schematic of everything that's going on, all the structure, all the different things up, these orbs that are on top of the spires. I mean, he knows everything about it. Come on.
Just put a little bit of mercury in it, man.
Yeah. Spin it round. Joe Rogan seems to entertain any old bullshitter these days. Here are a couple of examples.
The crazy thing is they're actually solid carved.
Right.
And they're carved out of very hard stone, right? What is it they're carved out of?
Oh, granite, diorite.
Granite, diorite.
Igneous rock.
And if you show it, could you pick that thing up to show everybody?
Mm-hmm.
The crazy thing is that it's not only perfectly symmetrical. Again, don't use the word perfect, right? Because it's within what width of a human hair? It's some crazy...
Yeah, like 2,500 or something like that.
2,500 of a human hair.
Have you ever used one of these?
Yes, I have.
Measure the lip there, right? See that?
Yes, sir.
Measure that and then turn it 90 degrees and measure it and tell me what you
obviously
get. It's a copy of the original. So basically...
So I'm measuring it here, and then I'm going to measure it here. So it's essentially exactly the same everywhere, right? Is that the idea?
It's within about an hour and a half.
So it's perfect, except up to what percentage of human hair again?
I would say in shop talk it's perfect. Yeah.
In shop talk it's perfect.
Yeah. A human hair, 2,500, 3,000.
So this is how you measure it all with this equipment. Thing is, it's like you couldn't spin this on a potter's wheel. This is where it gets really crazy.
No.
Because of these handles.
Right.
The big deal is these goddamn handles.
That's a big deal.
Because even if you just slowly and meticulously with the finest of craftsmanship spun this to a perfect accuracy, just with like high grit sandpaper, slowly over time, made it perfectly round, and you got so good at it that you get it within how much of a human hair again?
About a human hair.
Okay.
Two and a half, though.
Okay, let's say it's a human hair, which is pretty small. How the hell are you going to do these handles? How are you going to make these perfect, too?
There's another question you need to ask, too.
How do you get the inside out?
No.
What?
How do you measure it to be sure that you're within that human hair?
Right. What kind of equipment are you using?
What kind of instruments do you use?
Yeah, it seems like this would be a problem. I don't think they had this. And if they did have this, they didn't have this part.
How do you know?
I don't know. I'm guessing.
I don't know either.
No. And all of them have the same sort of similar measurement to them in terms of their perfection?
Actually, some of them, there's one more precise than that one.
Really?
The original, yeah. They call it the spinner. I think it's that one at the front there.
So this is just one example of one of the mind-blowing mysteries involved in this culture. They had some kind of capability of not just doing that and not just making the vases, but also making the pyramids themselves, which are beyond comprehension.
That's huge.
Now, the other third type that got mentioned on Mission was reptilians. But every time that they were mentioned, it was really quickly hushed up by whoever else was on the other end of the line. Shut up, don't say that, is what they were doing.
They don't want to talk about the reptilians.
They don't want to talk about the reptilian presence at all. They would talk about the tall whites and the grays being in the lab environments, not a lot, but some. But these reptilians, it was like nobody wanted to talk about it.
Was there any sort of an explanation that anybody give you of why they don't want to talk about it?
No, the only time I got any inkling was that when I, was out of the program and other people started to talk to me about all the different, things, and they're like, well, how many races are there? I don't know. But some people talked about the reptilians. They're like, do you realize that these are evil?
Yeah, so very accurate Egyptian vases and reptilians.
Yeah, somebody tell Joe that they put the handles on after they turn it.
Do they? Is that how do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? They
Make the
add them
handles
as separate things, or they carve them out separately?
No, they add them.
Yeah. They add them. They'll roll them out, shape them, and then they'll wet the spot, with some clay, some liquid clay, and then they'll glue it in place, and it looks like part of it.
I see. Right. Is that how it's done?
How does he not know this? This is like 10,000-year-old technology that's been handed down to us.
And then reptilians, of course, they're out there. I guess he was talking about aliens, which we're going to talk about next. And next, an Easter egg, but not one made of chocolate, or in fact, anything from planet Earth. You might have seen this before, actually. I thought this was new. It's presented as if it is, but people tell me it's not. But anyway, enjoy. Oh, it's ended. Anyway, it's all real, folks. What do you think?
Oh my God, they went through all that effort to catch a balloon? My God.
That looks underwater.
So, as the kind of UFO enthusiast in here,
yeah.
When this whole thing came out with the egg, first of all, they described it for like a week and everybody had high anticipation. And then when the video came out, they were absolutely eviscerated by the community. People were talking about how it just looks like someone is suspending a real chicken egg over basically like a model train set. Like it looks like the felt of a model, the green felt they put on a model train set.
Yeah.
Simulate the landscape. It just looks like, someone holding a cell phone underneath a string, over a string holding a egg in a little harness over this model train thing. It was just such an underwhelming video. People were like, why aren't there human beings that are there, like controlling the load? The things that would make it look more legitimate, right? If you had like a ground crew that was there to accept a load like you normally would when you're lowering a load with a helicopter, right? Like, it was just, nobody really took it seriously.
And that's not what night vision. And that's not what night vision goggles look like.
No, it did look a bit, I don't know, like it was normal video that had been altered in that regard, I thought. All right, well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. To the Oval Office now, and the FIFA World Club Cup trophy, which is demonic or angelic or something. Take a look.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing in this video. Do you see it? What's weird about this FIFA World Cup thing right here? Y'all, it's literally in the presence of two separate angels. And heck no, I'm not talking about the people. This is literally, the outside is like a throne or an orphan, and then the inside is like a cherubim. Y'all, why in the world would they shape this award the exact way that the Bible describes certain angels? Not to mention, we've been having these things pop up in the sky lately. I'm sure this video right here is fake, but then we had this image which was going around when we had the Dior bags going around. But these things have been seen everywhere. By the way, I got surprised at the end. Gonna do a fast forward real quick. People are finally finding out what stars really are, not to mention we have these scientists coming out with the Dyson spheres. By the way, watch how fast this video gets copied. It's March 7th at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Now the bonus, have you ever played Final Fantasy VII? Well, Sephiroth's actually the devil and a seraphim, just like the Bible. Different stages of the last boss are literally different power level angels. And you know that grievingly strong attack he uses? You know, that wipes out the whole earth in the game? What is this? Nasha? Apophis? Google Images says 2029 a meteor is gonna wipe us out? You don't say. But anyways, why do y'all think they made the award in the shape of angels? Or am I reaching?
Yes, you're reaching, I think.
Very much.
I mean, it's a video game.
And bumped your head.
Anyway, that's the World Club Cup trophy, which is happening in America this year, I believe, isn't it?
In what state?
I think it's LA, right?
I don't know. Google it. I think it'll probably be in several, multiple places. I'd have thought.
In L.A., huh? Another reference to Jesus?
Actually.
Sorry?
Another reference to angels?
I think the championship game's in LA, right?
Yeah. They've already listed out the games.
This isn't the World Cup. This is the World Club Cup.
Yep.
Which is different.
For what?
Well, the World Cup is a competition between the national sides of different countries, and the World Club Cup is a competition between football clubs who have won regional trophies from around the world.
Okay.
So they're not national sides. They're like Manchester City and Liverpool are playing in it, for instance.
It just looked like a plate to me.
A big gold plate. I bet Trump loved it because it was gold.
It looked like a concave Earth.
Anyway.
They're trying to hide the truth.
A little drift from our usual path now. Perhaps the most effective flat earth debunker throughout its history has been Will Duffy, who ironically is prone to believing bullshit to maintain a belief himself. Here he is in action, debating young earth creationism with PhD Tony. 2 clips to come. Here's the first. It's not too long.
The shape of the earth is something that we can establish presently. We live on the earth. We can measure the earth. We can take pictures of the earth. And so that is a huge difference in talking about something that happened in the past. As soon as we're talking about the past, especially the distant past, we're now going to have to enter in assumptions, and a lot of assumptions, and we're going to try to have to figure out what's going on. So it's objectively more difficult to determine things that happened in the past by the nature of the fact that we weren't there and we aren't there, and it's not something that's in the present. The second difference between young earth and flat earth, which is huge, is that flat earth has no experts. They have no scientists. They have no PhDs, no doctors, no pilots. So if anybody is a flat earther claiming to be a pilot or a doctor, they're usually lying. Okay, that's been established for years. Young earth creationism has PhDs in, I think, every field of science. They have actual experts. And I think there's hundreds of actual scientists, name the field, geology, physics, astronomy, paleontology, you name it. There are young Earth creationists who have PhDs in those topics. So that's a huge difference. And as me being someone who doesn't have an expertise in this, I do listen to both sides. I'm going to be listening to Tony tonight, who has a PhD, presenting one perspective, but I also listen to young Earth creationists that have PhDs that have another perspective. And so I don't think likening young Earth creation to flat Earth is valid. And let's kick off the conversation with that.
Okay, so just as a quick response, none of the subject matter experts that you referenced there are capable of getting their young Earth data past peer review, which instantly casts a question mark over their methodology and their returns. And many of them, Russell Humphreys, for instance, gets around the heat problem by saying that when God opened the heavens, as the Bible relates, it opened a fourth dimension through which all the energy could escape. This is completely unscientific. There's no way of verifying this. There's no way of contradicting it. It's just not science. And that's the sort of expert that you're appealing to. When you're appealing to science, it's important that you're appealing to mainstream science and reputable science. And so that's what I hope to be discussing today. The evidence that I will be presenting is peer-reviewed.
Before you do your presentation. So something I've learned in the Flat Earth movement is that, Jaron especially has taught me this, is when they were lied to and when they were shown things that weren't accurate, that really helped them want to keep their Flat Earth belief. And that is true with young Earth creationism. So I'm going to tell you, I don't have evidence of this today, but I am certain that this idea that they can't get past peer review is not because of bad science, but it's because of either the fact that they're a young Earth creationist or their conclusion. And I will make it a point to go find examples of that, but I'm certain that's the case. And I can give you a firsthand example of this where the mainstream science community was unwilling to do actual science that I was involved in paying for. Now, this is big for me, and it's one of the reasons I'm young Earth. So let me tell everybody a story which is incredibly fascinating. Mary Schweitzer and Jack Horner discovered a T-Rex fossil in Montana, and the leg bone was too big to get out, so they had to cut it in half. When they did that, they found inside of the T-Rex leg bone what looked like a biological material, but they didn't know what it was. Mary Schweitzer comes out and says, you guys, this is original biological material. This is not a fossil. This is not a rock. And the science community hung her. And so I was part of a group. We offered Jack Horner and Mary Schweitzer $23,000 to do a carbon-14 test on the biological material. The call was recorded. This is all online. Jack Horner said no. And we said, Jack, why won't you want to do science? Because that's what you do with biological material, is you 14C test it. And he said, we don't want the young Earth creationists to run with this. So that right there is a perfect example, Tony, where the science community is unwilling to do actual real science if they're afraid it's going to go against the mainstream narrative. I've noticed that science cannot date things that are living, and science cannot date things accurately that we saw with our own eyes be created. People, human beings. If I brought you a human being, any random age, you cannot date them.
Saying that human beings are living things, therefore we can't date living things, that's absolutely untrue.
Okay.
We can date living corals. We do date living corals. We can date trees. We do date living trees. We can date fish from the little osteoliths that accumulate in their ears because they have growth rings. There's plenty of stuff when we use radiometric dating on the Pompeii eruption, the Mount Vesuvius eruption. We get exactly the right date. We get exactly the date that corresponds with the historical evidence we have. So that claim is false.
Will Duffy in the hot seat. What do we think?
That's old school arguments. The Mary Schweitzer stuff. Holy jeez.
I would like to meet a young Earth paleontologist and talk to them. Outside of like Kent Hovind, who said that dinosaurs were dragons that breathed fire because their nostrils were too small.
Yeah.
Ironically, the Mary Schweitzer thing is evidence that birds and dinosaurs are related.
Did they find DNA though? Isn't that what he was saying? Sorry, Al.
It was sinew of some sort, I think, or a tendon. He overlooked the fact that it had to be soaked in a weak acid solution, though, before it was pliable. It was solid.
Right. Yeah, they say it's soft tissue, but it was only soft once it was dealt with. And he said that they hung Mary Schweitzer, but I don't think that's true, is it? I think people had doubts to kick off with, right? But I think that she's seen as a bit of a hero, really, in paleontology, isn't she?
This is years ago. I don't remember.
Like a bit of a sort of a, very successful and lucky amateur or something. I don't know, but I don't think she was hung.
No.
All right, more from Will and Tony now in a longer and more heated clip.
So there are limitations on radiocarbon dating, and the fact that a radiocarbon result yields a young age is in no way logically requires that the material that the sample was young. There are multiple pathways for young carbon to get into an old geological sample. So this old staple of and again, like, the thing is, it's not like experts in the field have not heard these arguments. We have heard these arguments. We know why they're wrong, and it is a little frustrating that the scientists who base their careers around this and around the accuracy of geochronological techniques are being told by people who don't understand these techniques how they should do science. There's a reason we don't use radiocarbon-14, and we don't accept that young radiocarbon in diamonds or coal or whatever else you're looking at means that they're young, because it doesn't. It means that your sample's contaminated. Maybe you should find a better sample.
Okay, so this is important, Tony. This is super important. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm the more objective one here on this topic. I think that it's possible that you're right about this, but I think it's also possible that it's not contamination and that it's original biological material, and that we should look into this. We should do more testing. We should look for more specimens out in the world. You sound like you are closed-minded. It has to be old. I know I'm right. Therefore, it must be contamination. Game over.
Okay, so at the moment, you're sounding very much like a flat earther. This is exactly the sort of argumentation that a flat earther takes. And the difference is the abundance of evidence. So far, I brought up one dating technique. There are several other dating techniques. There's also an abundance of evidence. How do you explain the fact that there's a 2 kilometer thick layer of glacial till in Oman?
I need to respond to something you said. All I said is that you might be right or you might be wrong, and you say that I sound like a flat earther.
Yes, which is exactly what flat earthers say. Yes,
so
that's exactly what flat earthers say. Flat earthers say that it's possible that...
Forget if flat earthers say that. What is wrong with my statement that I think you might be right, Tony? And I'm telling you right now, but I also think it's possible you're wrong.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that statement?
Because so the confidence I have in my conclusion is proportional to the abundance of evidence supporting that conclusion. We have not covered even a tiny scintilla of the available evidence supporting my conclusion. You are not aware of the vast majority of evidence supporting my conclusion.
I don't even know what your conclusion
could be
is.
wrong.
You haven't said what
Okay,
your conclusion is.
So
What is your
my conclusion is that the preponderance of geochronological evidence directly contradicts a 10,000-year-old Earth and establishes Earth's age as 3.56 billion years, plus or minus a few million years.
Okay,
That's what the evidence suggests.
Okay, I am shocked right now, and I'm a little bit perplexed. I've been told by mainstream science that the Earth is
4.56.
4.5 billion.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. 4.56. Sorry.
Okay, good. That makes
I
me
got that
feel a
wrong.
little bit better.
I've been reading papers about stromatolites that are 3.52 million years old. So that was the number that was in my mind. But yes, 4.56 billion. You're quite right.
Okay, so someone told me recently, and I immediately knew they were wrong. They told me that multiple fields of science all independently date the Earth, and they all come up with the same answer. That is false.
Yeah, that's not false.
That is false. So Tony, here's what I'd like from you is I want you to tell me right now, other than meteorites that did not originate from the Earth, what shows us the Earth is 4.5 billion years old?
Okay. So material on Earth has been dated to that far back.
No, that's false, Tony. I'm sorry. I have to stop you. Nothing from the Earth has been dated at 4.5 billion years old. Nothing.
Yes, because it has to. Now you are actually using science denialist tactics, and I am extremely resentful of it. So, do you accept then that material has been dated to 4.1 billion years old?
I'm not okay. So you feel it?
No, don't do this.
No,
Like literally. So you're saying that the scientific material that has been dated to 4.1 billion years old isn't consistent with a 4.56 billion year old Earth. This is just mendacity, Will. And if a flat earther were doing this, you'd rip into them.
Hey, Tony. 4.1 billion and 4.5 billion are insanely different numbers, insanely different. And so I'm establishing...
what? They're both much bigger than 10,000, aren't they?
Okay, hold on, Tony. This is important, okay? I learned something very, very valuable in the flat earth world, which is that they like to poke holes in the globe, but they don't like to show evidence of their position. I asked you for your conclusion because dendrochronology and ice cores are not evidence that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. And so I wanted to establish that you believe...
Will, shut up right there. Shut up right there. So again, I said that the confidence in my conclusion is based on the entirety of the evidence available to me. It is not based on dendrochronology. It is not based on ice cores. But with dendrochronology and ice cores, I can refute your position that it's 10,000 years old. You are making a claim that it's 10,000 years old, which is instantly falsified by ice core data. It's instantly falsified by sea level data. It's instantly falsified by all geochronological data. And to start picking holes, this is exactly what flat earthers do.
Yeah, was a bit more heated, that one, wasn't it?
But he is right. That's what flat earthers do. They'd like to make the blanket statement, there is no evidence.
I am glad that they're finally going after the young Earth bullshit, too, because it's kind of like flat eartherism, but like more permissible. It's just as dumb. It's like it denies science just as much.
Right.
It's just people go, oh, wow, it's just Christian, so it's okay. And it's like, no.
And pointing out that something that's 4.1 billion years old and 4.4 billion years old are big, insanely different numbers. Of course that's true, but like Tony said, they're both a lot different to 10,000 or 6,000 or whatever a young earther is claiming. I mean...
Well, also, why would you expect there to be ice from day one?
Right.
Especially, yeah, when the planet is in a process of cooling early on.
What is the oldest ice
hotter,
core we've got? I saw a video the other day where they got a very, very long one. I can't remember how long it was. In the kilometers, I think.
Yeah, there's some pretty freaking big ones. I know that.
2.7 million years.
Wow. All right, a couple of clips from Flat Earth Banjo now, who since last December has devoted his life to debunking the final experiment so that he can keep flogging his Flat Earth map, only to abandon it this week in favour of his all-new conspiracy map. Enjoy.
I created this poster which exposes the biggest conspiracies in this flat Earth we live. This poster is a map of your entire reality. Today we are going to decode the unclaimed areas of Antarctica. There is an area in Antarctica considered unclaimable. It does not make any sense whatsoever when you look at the Antarctica map according to the heliocentric model. For those who don't know, the heliocentric model is the model which describes Earth as a spinning ball in space. Many countries have waged wars for a piece of land much smaller than this one. This illustration again shows how Antarctica is divided among the signatories of the Antarctic Treaty. Here you see that Norway, a country in the extreme north of Europe, claims a big chunk of Antarctica. Australia claims an even bigger chunk. But look at the area highlighted in green. 3 countries lay claim on the same area when, next to it, there's an area which nobody seems to have any interest. Do you want to know why? Well, when you realize that the Earth is flat, and the Gleason's map is the true map of the world, you start to understand why nobody wants to lay claim on that area. It's just too far away from anywhere. That area on the Pacific Ocean is also a no-navigation zone. Ships to sail through those waters must ask for permission from, guess who? NASA. Yeah, NASA is in charge of that area in the Pacific. Perhaps the real reason no one can navigate or lay claim on those areas is because that's where an entrance to a hidden continent is located. According to this Russian map of the early 20th century, there are 2 more continents being kept away from the entire world. This unclaimed area of Antarctica only makes sense on the Flat Earth map. This poster is only available in my online store. To order yours, please visit the link on the description on my Linktree. Follow for more. I created this poster that exposes the biggest conspiracies on this flat Earth. Today we're going to decode Project Bluebeam. The plans for Project Bluebeam is to stage an elaborate, worldwide faked alien invasion with UFOs that will be seen in the sky. These will either be made by the government with secret technology driven by craft operated by black budgets and military, or advanced holographic imagery. The Bluebeam project marks the beginning of total population control. This delusional project aims to stage a large-scale fake extraterrestrial invasion worldwide with UFOs visible in the sky and to introduce a fake god. To save humanity from this invasion, they would employ highly realistic secret military technology, and they have recently conducted tests. The result is crazy. The ultimate goal would be to eradicate all religions and establish a single unified religion, thereby achieving complete control over the population through fear. This project, combined with the HAARP project, would enable the manifestation of a religious figure capable of causing earthquakes, storms, and natural disasters to more strongly modify the belief systems of the masses. Remember in Spider-Man Far From Home when they used holograms to portray Mysterio as a hero? Now recall this phrase in the movie, "We'll tell them the truth," and in reality, we'll lie to them. Remember, if aliens ever invade us, don't believe it. This poster is only available in my online store. To order yours, please visit the link on the description on my Linktree. Follow for more.
I like how he's gone for a sort of more abstract flat Earth map, so he can't be sort of pinned down on any aspect of it.
What was this about Project Blue
that
Balls?
guy's a shill.
He's unbelievable, isn't he? He's so desperate to believe, though. Just so desperate.
Here's a bunch of bullshit. By the way, buy my ship.
Right, yeah. All right. Blue Origin sent an all-female crew to space this week, prompting a tsunami of claims of fakery from all across the internet. Here is a compilation of examples. Enjoy.
So this is Hive moderation. It detects AI and deepfake imagery and videos. I was convinced that this Blue Origin video was fake, so I put it through Hive moderation, and look what we get, 82%. Wow. Wow.
You know what I saw when they landed? Spin it. I spin it. You know the number of the beast is 6. You know who they're working for. That guy right there. Pow. Right there. The same little things right there going out of his head.
People are starting to think that the Katy Perry space mission was all staged, specifically due to the capsule that they landed in not looking legit. And they also had opened the door and then closed the door just to open it again, just to get the shot. And as much as we all want to believe that she had an actual space mission, something about this seems a little fishy. So as you can see, they have all the camera crews here ready to get the shot. And this dude's here waiting for the moment that he gets to open the door for them to re-enter into Earth's atmosphere. And people are saying the door looks pretty sketchy. And this moment kind of reminds us of the astronauts that were trapped in space when they returned back to Earth. People speculated that something looked fishy about that return, and people got a lot to say about this moment as well. I think my favorite comment has to be the greatest show on Earth. As you can see by these comments, people think the whole thing is scripted, that it's fake, and because with the advancements in AI and CGI technology, it's really hard to believe anything we see or hear nowadays.
Crazy how they landed and their hair looks amazing. Also crazy is this little spaceship that they have on their uniforms. The spaceship, doesn't it look a lot like this? I feel like it does. But man, what a trip to space. I mean, this looked so real. What does that spaceship look like to you? Interesting, right? Can't take it anymore.
So we're just supposed to believe that this all-woman mission went to space, one of which was Katy Perry. They floated around, maybe did some science, and came back within 8 minutes without a single hiccup. All right, let's actually think this through. There are some bizarre inconsistencies with this story. For one, the training timeline. According to NASA, they claim that they prepped for months. Yet actual astronauts trained for years prior to one launch. That's like cramming for the Olympics while watching a YouTube workout video. And second, which I have no idea why nobody's talking about, the footage. I don't care about the outside of the shuttle. Where is the raw, unedited, inside the shuttle video? We've seen clearer video clips from the 1969 moon landing. And that was filmed on a 16mm film. But for some reason in 2025, all we got is multi-angle curated clips with some cool music overlay. And here's where it gets even weirder. There's almost zero telemetry data that was released. Every major mission logs thousands of data points per second. So where's the launch vector breakdown? Where's the atmospheric re-entry data? Shouldn't we have got more evidence than just a press conference with some nice selfies afterwards? I mean, call me crazy, but when the science just doesn't science up, I ask questions, and so should you. Because usually if something looks like PR, sounds like PR, and smells like PR, maybe it never left the ground at all. And if that's really the case, that none of this actually went on, which I don't know if that's the case, what did this huge moment keep our eyes from seeing?
Did you know that this actually proves that the Earth is not moving and that it's enclosed? Doesn't prove that it's flat, but definitely that it's not moving. Let me explain. First of all, I'm glad that they made it back. I never desire any harm to anybody, but this is where they left, Blue Origin facility. They launched, they should have landed right here in Alamo, in Mexico. Okay. I asked ChatGPT, if a rocket goes straight up from this coordinate, how much would the Earth move under it if it went up for 11 minutes? And this is what it gave me, 163 miles. The Earth is rotating, right? So this is where it should have landed. If it goes straight up, the Earth is still moving under it, moving under it, moving under it, and eventually, for 11 minutes, it'll land right there. So no physical experiment ever proved that the Earth is actually in motion. What do you guys got to say about that?
Again, we aren't saying it. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the head of the Globe Church, one of the head priests, is telling you guys there's no freaking curvature at 63 miles high. That's over 300,000 feet. So, don't complain with us, complain with your education system, making you guys look retarded. But it's okay, man. Continue on believing what you want to believe.
What is this? Why are we doing this? Like, what are we doing, okay? Genuinely don't know why people aren't just, like, in the streets all the time. Like, what are we doing?
You really think NS31 is just some random letters and numbers? As we all know, this isn't just a random symbol either. So unfortunately, N is the 14th number in the alphabet and S is the 19th. 14 plus 19 is 33. 3 plus 3 is 6. Did you happen to notice who all the faces are staring at too in the middle? So also, there was 4 white women that went, and there was 2 black women. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then I don't know if you noticed the 6 symbols in all the corners next to their names, but then there's a 7th symbol right here. You see this one? For some reason, there's this extra 7th symbol. It's not a star because it's much bigger than just the normal stars that are over here. It does make me just a little nervous why there's that extra symbol in there. What, did something come back? So I don't have this thing fully decoded yet or anything, but
I kind of feel ripped off by this Katy Perry space mission. I really thought this team was going to be in space for a substantial amount of time, not 2 minutes.
Oh my god, did you guys see Katy Perry went to space in the flying dildo? You know, the same Katy Perry that's constantly tossing up Illuminati signs and subliminal programming in her music videos? Yeah, I'm sure she's not a part of any demonic plan. Have a look at this takeoff video. What an interesting shape they chose, eh? What an interesting shape they chose for the... It's so funny, bro. You guys got me going. Yo, let's see how this looks. This looks so real. So, look at this. Yeah. Yo, who's buying this? Please, if you're buying this, put it in the comments because we want to make fun of you. Look at this. You guys think this is real? Just shut her up in this big dildo. Did also notice something very interesting on the suit that she was wearing. Here you can see it up. That looks like the Baphomet. This is the entity that, once again, the satanic elites, the Illuminati, tossing the Illuminati eye, they worship. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Baphomet is the symbol for the Church of Satan, a figure generally associated with occultism, paganism, and Satanism. Also a symbol of the Church of Satan. I find it hilarious how they chose this shape too. It's like they can't laugh at you guys any harder. They can't put it in your face any more clear. But there's still people out there that are like, yeah, sweet, Katy Perry went to space. Thank you, Elon Musk. That's awesome. Great job, Katy Perry. You are our hero. And really, this lady is a puppet for the devil-worshipping elites. You know, sometimes when I make these videos, they gotta come from the ego, because I genuinely need to show you people how stupid you are to believe all of NASA's lies. You have to be incredibly stupid. None of it is real. This is the truth right here. This is it. This is what the truth is. You can quite literally just go outside, observe with your own eyes, and figure it out for yourself. It is not hard. Stop believing their lies. Stop being ignorant. I genuinely believe that humanity can be smarter than this. These people are not your friend. They're not your idol. They are devil worshipping and they are deceiving humanity. It's time to wake up. Real truth is found within.
Things are going to keep getting weirder and weirder. And I've been saying this for a couple of years now, because it almost feels like the powers that be need us to see the circus for what it really is. So they just keep coming up with more and more ludicrous situations that they expect you to swallow. And the latest one, which I hate, I'm even contributing towards the energy of it, but this Katy Perry and space thing, I'm really sorry, only a moron could believe that's true. Like, if you're sitting there thinking, fuck me, Katy Perry and all these other famous women have just gone to space, and you're watching the official footage that they're telling you is legit, and you ain't got alarm bells ringing in your head, then you need to check for a pulse, my man, because the show is over. Like, just look around in the last few years. Things are getting weirder and weirder because they just want you to see it.
Ah, he sounds like he lives somewhere near me.
Oh my God. People are taking this thing way too seriously.
Right.
It was never put forward as any sort of scientific endeavor.
Right. I mean, they're so confused as well, aren't they? I mean, a couple of them mentioned NASA. One of them mentioned Elon Musk. I mean, you know, it's just crazy. And there were actually some better clips I found subsequent to that, but I didn't have time to put them in. But people claiming that it should look burnt because, you know, the SpaceX capsule looks all burnt when it comes back, you know.
Yeah, a little more energy on an orbital flight than a
right.
This is a way for them to earn money, right? Like,
and people
Jeff
just
Bezos is making money off of this from
right.
Katy Perry
and people just claiming the flame of the rocket isn't big enough to make the rocket move.
Well, again, it's suborbital. What's the big deal with the door? I don't get the door controversy.
Well, the thing is, they opened the door, sort of cracked it open, and Jeff Bezos and some woman were standing sort of to the side, and the woman went to the door and said something, and then they closed the door again. And then a few minutes later, he came with some sort of tool that they, sort of like a big spanner thing that they lock onto it to open the door. But I think, you know, they were obviously just trying to get a cool, you know, soundbitey shot for the media. You know, that was what that was all about, I think.
I love the guy doing the...
Go ahead, Paz.
I said I love the guy doing the research. You said, yeah, I've added all the letters up. That comes to thick. Right. And there's four white women too. That's thick. And there's 7 stars. I'm stopping research there. I haven't yet finished.
Yeah. I know.
Nearly got what he wanted, didn't he? Nearly got
just
the number.
So dumb, but no one suggests any reason at all why they would fake this. What for?
Because it was mandated by Neil deGrasse Tyson, head of the the Globe Church.
The Globe Church. And one guy sounded Canadian, eh?
The guy at the end, the powers that be need us to see the circus that it is. What does that even mean?
Right. I mean, Pete always says this, doesn't he? That, you know, they're doing all this stuff in secret that they don't want us to know about. But at the same time, they keep sending us messages that they're doing it, but they're coded. They have to be decoded. Why? Why are they doing that?
They're coded in such a way is only those who are ill-educated on the fringes of society are receptive to them.
Right.
Again, why? Why?
Yeah. Just doesn't make any sense, does it? And I just wish one of them would just indulge that reasoning just for a minute and say, you know, they're all so convinced it's so utterly fake, and you know, you've got to check for a pulse if you believe it. It's so unbelievable. But, you know, offer some reasoning as to why I shouldn't believe it, you know? Rather than just asserting it's really, really, really fake. You know?
I believe it.
I feel like Joe Rogan should take his buddy Eddie Bravo up into space and see what happens.
Right.
He has the money for it.
Yeah, they could easily do that, couldn't he? I bet he makes the money off one show to do that.
Right. The thing that gets me, Jim, is the guys who say it's so fake, right? Like the same guy, like it's so fake, you know it's fake. But look, the moon is. You can see the moon, which proves that the Earth is flat. In that So is it fake or is the Earth flat? Is it proved that
Right.
the Earth flat?
Oh, the
Well,
moon was too small. That was another complaint people had.
I think what is interesting is when Willie Shatner and 6 Men went up. Yeah. These crushingly misogynistic and men with inferiority complexes weren't remotely bothered about that and scoffing about it and
Right.
so derogatory. It's because it's women.
Can
Imagine
they
women
not
doing
take a
doing
picture?
six to-
This all
women doing something adventurous.
How's that possible?
Just let him finish.
Women doing something. Women doing some endeavour that's successful or adventurous, and men sat at home on the internet with a box of tissues. Oh dear.
Yes.
Can-
But don't
Can
you
they
think?
not take a picture?
But conspiracy theorizing is becoming very trendy, isn't it? Everyone's at it now. Everything's fake. Nothing's actually happening. It's all fake. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, if I was the flat earther, I'd be livid. I mean, it's been plague. You know, there are people who believe in the globe Earth now doing this for a living
Yeah.
online. It's disgusting. Taking their hard trade away from them.
Yeah. Speaking of hard trade, here's an interesting story I came across this week. It turns out that, allegedly, Flat Earth's most prolific liar is involved in a crypto scam. Who would have thunk it? Let's have a look at what David Weiss has been up to.
Dave's cryptocurrency, Dome Shot, is an interesting project to say the least. I'm going to start with the allocations. Dome Shot is allocated to have 45% of its total supply distributed to key partners. So an inner circle holds almost half the coin supply, and the claim is that's for decentralization and price protection. Not only do I have a mountain of evidence showing Dave wash trading Dome Shot to create artificial trade volume and manipulate prices, this allocation also creates an extremely centralized power, the key partners being that centralized power. Next, 20% allocated to the origin address for future development. You know what sort of things go into future development? Marketing, promotion, consulting, you know, the things that you are holding 45% of the coin for. In addition to being deceptively vague, the origin address of Dome Shot holds 33.1% of coin as of April 2nd, 2025. I don't care that a separate wallet holds the 20%. I want to know why your origin address doesn't hold the 20% as stated to potential investors. Next, I'm going to skip ahead to the referral program allocation. In order to mint Dome Shot, you refer a friend to Dave's Flat Earth app. This app costs $3 and there is no free version. You can probably see where the web of deceit is coming together at this point. Everything funnels into Dave's $3 app. Now, considering this coin has no applicable uses other than trading against other coins, the value is 100% speculative. With that in mind, I checked out Dome Shot on the Pulse chain and I was just blown away with how popular this coin is. As you can see, the trade activity on this coin is quite impressive. People must truly be waking up and seeing the truth. Oh, no, that's wash trading. Wash trading is when a coin holder or a group of coin holders transfer coins between wallets, creating a false sense of demand and increasing the value of the coin artificially. Quick question, Dave. Why is your coin being washed through a smart contract that holds 0 Dome Shot, yet holds a significant amount of Ordo Templi Orientis coin? Oh, and the Order of the Temple of the East coin as well. You know, the occult secret societies that are heavily associated with European Freemasons. Yeah, the same one that Aleister Crowley was in. I would never accuse you of working with Freemasons or of even being a Freemason yourself. That would make me no better than, well, people like you.
You never met these men. You don't know anything about these men other than the stories that the controllers of this world tell you.
So go ahead, Dave. I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that smart contract wash trading your coin. While making this video, I watched Dome's liquidity increase from 5.9k to 7.8k in just 2 days. Dave isn't pulling a rug here, he is running a slow burn scam. By the way, Dome Shot celebrated its first birthday today. Eat a dick, Dave. For those wondering, wash trading is illegal, with plenty of precedents set by the SEC when they cracked down on BitConnect. I organized this evidence into a report and submitted it to the SEC to investigate further.
I didn't understand all of that, but I get the idea, I think, the general idea.
He must be mistaken. Dave Weiss wouldn't do anything.
We need to submit your show to the police as evidence, Jem. Hand it over immediately.
I'm not sure if those, just tokens that people have knocked up are covered by the SEC, though, are they? I think it has to be.
Is it really that easy to? Oh, sorry.
I think they have to be sort of recognised as a security before the SEC will get involved. I'm not sure.
Is it really that easy to knock up a cryptocurrency?
Yeah. Apparently, it's very easy. I mean, I haven't done it, but I mean, there are sites where there are new ones coming on sale literally every few seconds.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Zan.
I was just going to say, I think it's kind of funny that he thinks the FEC will do anything under the Trump administration.
Right, yeah.
Got it.
They'll probably buy the fucking coin.
They'll be like, oh, this looks like a great investment.
All right, UFC fighter, overt Nazi and flat earther Bryce Mitchell had a bad week last week, and it all started with a press conference. Take it.
Bryce, this has been it's been a tough couple of months, I would say. Obviously, we're not used to hearing boos for you. There's been some controversy, I guess. Kind of your first public appearance, I just want to ask how important it is for you to be back to what you do best, and maybe with an open mic, is there anything that you want to address to the crowd today?
And Jesus said,
Hey,
remember,
Bryce
if
Mitchell.
the world hates you,
Bryce Mitchell.
they've hated
Fuck
me
Bryce
first.
Mitchell. Bryce
Is
Mitchell.
a servant greater
Fuck
than
Bryce
his master?
Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell. Hey, brother. Bryce Mitchell.
I'll start with you.
You barking up the wrong tree, mother.
Bryce Mitchell. Look, Bryce Mitchell. Please.
Jose, go ahead, my man. What do you have?
I'll ask a question to John Silva since he had the mic. You seem to, you brought a globe. Why did you feel the need to bring a globe to the press conference?
Pergunta para você, já que já estava com o microfone ali. Você trouxe globo. Por que trouxe o globo?
Oh, so you're a scientist now. Tell us more.
Meu irmão, eu não sei, mas que tu vai passar a ver a Terra redonda, tu vai.
Bro, I don't know, but you're going to start seeing the word, and as round, you are going to start seeing that soon.
Good morning, y'all. I need all my Christian warriors to pray for me that I would have peaceful sleep. Every single night since the day before the press conference, I've had demonic dreams. Legions of demons are attacking me every single time I sleep, and not one time have I seen any peaceful sleep since that day. These demons surround me, and they try to fight me and provoke me to anger, and then the dream will switch, and they'll send beautiful women, and they're trying to get me to lust, to cheat on my wife. Satan's using two of my weaknesses to try to expose the evil in my own heart, which is anger and lust. However, where I am weak, the Lord is strong. So please pray for me, especially if you're fasting right now. Please pray that I would have peaceful sleep, that God would send Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, Samson, and King David to watch over me and protect me with the shield of faith. Remember, guys, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness, dark principalities, and evil powers in high places. I'm not just fighting a man on April 12th. I'm fighting a man possessed by a legion of demons. When I simply said the name Jesus, he was provoked to maliciousness. and he started barking like a dog and chanting F you, F you, F you. Remember, guys, the days of me fighting for myself are long gone. I now fight for the name of the Lord. And the devil, he ain't going to waste his time trying to plague a loser. He knows that a victory for the Lord is at hand. I will win this fight in the name of Jesus Christ. The man's demons will be casted out of my presence, and he will fall before me just as Goliath fell before King David.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it?
You know,
Well,
that
I
reminds
guess,
me of that time that Whitsitt went on the Joe Rogan show, and then, not Joe Rogan, the Alex Jones show. Then Alex Jones came on and told him that it wasn't flat out.
I think
Because Trump was right there.
I think Jesus was a bit busy that day, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, Donald Trump was right there. Donald Trump's more important than Jesus right now.
I mean, he said I'm always worried by people who say, I'm not doing this for me, I'm fighting for God now. The sort of people who say, I'm fighting for God, are the sort of people who fly aeroplanes into buildings.
Yeah.
Frankly.
That's true.
And the thing is, he'll see this loss as a test. He could easily be in a framework where he says, well, God telling me that maybe the rules are there to test me to do something else instead. I mean, once you start thinking these things, I wouldn't get in a fucking sparring match anyway. But I mean, I imagine getting in with someone who thinks that God is on their side. That's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But, you know, a bit
Especially
worrisome.
when they think that their opponent is plagued by demons and is like legitimately evil.
Yeah, and keeping him awake at night, making him lustful.
Yeah, lustful. I mean, the things he was dreaming about were demons biting him and women in general. The only thing he didn't seem to be dreaming about is his own wife.
Or the
I was just gonna say, maybe if he treated his fucking wife better, she would do something to take care of that lustfulness. I don't know.
We don't know that he doesn't treat his wife well, though, do we?
Yeah,
no,
but
I
he
mean,
lost that fight handily.
I didn't say he didn't treat her well. I said he could treat her better.
You didn't say it, but you were insinuating it.
No, but I mean, from that video in the car, he did look quite troubled, didn't he? I mean, you know, he doesn't look like he's in a good place.
Yeah, he did. He did look quite disturbed.
Yeah, he was in Arkansas. It's not a good place to be.
He's got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on by the looks of it.
Yeah. All right, from one Christian flatty to another, church-going Christian flatty, Flatzoid, made up some lies for Jesus about Lisbeth Acosta recently, leading to him issuing a sincere apology for how other people had made him behave. A couple of back-to-back clips on this now. First the lies, and then the, inverted commas, apology.
I wonder if it's Lisbeth. And I'm not going to say what she was wearing.
It was 11 days ago. What's the last stream?
Would you say she could have been a comforter through all this kind of deal? You know what I'm saying? When they went down there, pretty girl, she was part of the package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the difference between Lisbeth and my wife. Lisbeth sends nude pictures to Jaren. My wife doesn't do that to anybody, so get your facts straight, mate.
No, that actually
we literally have seen a picture of Lisbeth half naked for Jaren, so get your facts straight.
Absolute sickos.
That whole group is a perverted, nonsense, idiotic people, and frankly, they need to get a life. We all know why Lisbeth went with on the group. Yeah.
Yeah, we get it.
Skiing.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Have you ever heard of the saying before, village bicycle?
Yeah, tune bike. Yep. Where I'm from, it's the tune bike.
Local pusher.
Yes, you are always accountable for everything. Remember, one day you're going to stand before God and you have to account for the things you've done, for the decisions you've made. On the stream where we were saying there's a reason they took Lisbeth on the trip.
I was about to say, Sandra, what's wrong with you? What's your name?
Let's just put it this way. The reason we made that context is because we saw a picture of her from Jaren's stream that he tried to hide. It was very revealing. So we said, we all know why she was chosen for the trip.
Little eye candy, maybe? Or a little more?
Exactly. Not our fault that this whole thing has been planned from long ago and the people they chose to go. If you don't like it, that's your problem.
Yeah, I just want to say to Alipio Barreto, Flatzoid, what you and your team said about Elizabeth are too low. Disgusting.
Is that so, Alipio?
I've never said anything about Elizabeth.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no. It's fine. You can think that if you want to, but Lipo, can I ask you something? Do you have any evidence that what I said was false?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so far, I can tell it looks like there's evidence for it. So,
and I can tell you one thing: the videos I've seen from Jaren, it wouldn't put me past that he's done that stuff. The pictures I've seen from Lisbeth to him, yeah. Do I think McToon and them will take part in it? Well, yes. Frankly, I don't think McToon is one of the cleanest guys around. I think he's one of the most perverted guys around. He's just like Jaren. So yeah, I'm just going to say it plain out. It's our opinion that group that went needed a certain somebody for entertainment. Don't like it, that's your problem.
and everybody has one.
Yeah, especially when you work with atheists and occultists and people that are perverted. They have their satanistic rituals they need to do. Okay, let's put it this way. Has my wife got anything to do with the flat earth?
Nothing.
No.
Has my wife got anything to do with Lisbeth sharing pictures with Jaren and them?
No.
So what the hell are they putting my wife's name into this?
Exactly.
As you've realized, Flatzoid's perspective channel has changed. There is a big reason why I'm doing this. I feel that this whole flat earth environment is a bit toxic, but not based from flat earthers itself, mostly from the anti-flat earth side, because they seem to be very obsessed and very personal in their attacks because we don't have the same belief system as them and their globe cult. So this video is just simply to tell you all, Flatzoid's perspective is just changing. I'm still Flatzoid. The earth is still flat. God created us for a purpose. But this video is just to tell you that I'm not going to take part in the flat earth arena, as you would place it anymore, and go and talk and rebut any of these anti-flat earth people. You see, the thing is, when you engage with these people, they seem to bring the worst out in people. They seem to bring you into situations you don't feel you should be in anyway. Sometimes you say things you weren't supposed to be. Sometimes you say things you didn't mean. But most of the times they misrepresent what you say or what you mean. And they try and dig you a hole and misrepresent you as your character false to a lot of people. Now, the thing is, I feel that although there are things that I definitely should have not said or anything, I do apologize, specifically to Lisbeth Acosta. I did not mean to drag you into anything. I made an off-cuff remark based on context that was totally misrepresented by the likes of McToon and the other company. Anyway, Lisbeth, my apologies, did not mean to drag you into anything. Just know it wasn't my intentions and they are misrepresenting what was said and how it was said. Secondly, all the anti-flat earthers that are watching this right now, I am praying for you. I do hope you get over this weird obsession over my character and my family and everybody in the flat earth arena. It's very, very unhealthy. I pray for everybody that is still in that arena that you see the light. And, well, simply, guys, if you're in the flat earth arena and you're flat earthers, my suggestion would be starve the anti-flat earthers of content. Just ignore them altogether. I have started going to literally ban them all, block them, ignore them. Call it echo chamber, whatever you want. The fact is, I'm not going to partake in their scum anymore. I'm not going to partake in their filthiness. It is a playground for bringing the worst out in people, and I don't want to be part of that anymore. So I hope you guys all see the future as bright as I do, because there's going to be no more scum in our lives anymore from the anti-flatter side. So from now on, the channel will be dedicated to biblical cosmology and biblical scripture. I will not be rebutting any videos from these guys, and will not be watching any of their content. If they have tagged me, I will not bother to even watch it anymore. So any flat earth, anti-flat earthers that are trying to grab my attention like they usually do, any of you that's still trying to contact my wife or my children, or trying to put any of us in a bad light, just know that what you are doing, you will stand before God, and you will have to account for it one day. You will need to go and understand that I don't care about your opinion. I don't think you understand that whatever you're trying to paint me as is not going to affect me or anybody here. So this is a friendly reminder that the Earth's flat. It always has been, it always will be. God is in control, and I pray for you guys. And for everybody I've ever hurt in this community or said anything wrong, I apologize. I pray that you move forward, and with all the sincerity in the heart, guys, get ready. Get ready and know God is almost here. Till next time, God bless. Bye.
What a truly disgusting human being he is. He is just awful.
I need to ask a question because I stepped away for a moment. Did he just apologize for something and then criticize other people for doing what he just did?
Yeah, it basically said he did it, but it was other people that had brought out the worst in him, and misrepresented him. It's recorded. We can all hear what he said.
Yeah, I'd written down some notes actually with the. Let me just think. What did I write down here? I wrote. Oh, sorry, cunt. That's what I'd written down.
Right. I mean,
his behaviour there is appalling.
Really, isn't it? Absolutely. Just making up lies and then making up more lies to excuse his lies. Saying, oh, they misrepresented me. No, they didn't. They didn't. They represented you exactly.
But in those clips, that's not anti-flat earthers, and that was him in a little coven of people saying, "Oh, she's a prostitute. Oh, she's wanking two men off together. She's there for entertainment. She's, like an Antarctic brothel on wheels."
Yeah, she's a comforter. I mean, what's going on in their heads where this happens? I mean, it's
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, he said about all the since the final experiment, all the awfulness and all the hateful and spiteful and awfulness coming from our side. Okay, right. Well, excuse me, unless I'm mistaken, our side's been quite all right actually. We haven't done any vape gating, prostitutes, satanic shit. Right. We haven't really done any of this kind of. It's all been inside their own community. They're all pouring shit on each other.
Right. Exactly. It's just despicable, isn't it? And the thing he does, oh, I'll pray for you, and I pray you move forward. To the people he's offended. I pray you move forward. It's just so arrogant, isn't it? Just disgusting.
All the awful. Go on, sorry, Leslie.
Well, he talked about seeing this image of her on Jaren's that she was sending him like half nude pictures. Jaren, on one of his streams, his images were set on scroll, and an image of Jaren's wife in a bikini popped up on screen by accident. That was the image that Flatzoid's talking about, saying that it was Lisbeth. Right. And Jaren did block it out or whatever, but it wasn't even Lisbeth that he saw on his stream.
And it's a woman in a bikini. Which is, You know, not what he was making it out to be, saying she was half naked. And I mean, it's just disgusting. It really is. Pitiful.
Well, he starts off by saying, "Oh, I'm apologizing." It's the least insincere apology to Lisbeth I could possibly imagine.
Right.
Then he says, "Oh yeah, but all of you doing this to me, you will stand before God one day, assuming we don't give a rather crappy apology first and just move on with our lives."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Cheeky fucking cunt.
Oh no. So his apology to Lisbeth was buried in his "I'm changing my channel" thing, because his channel was called Flatzoid's Perspective, and it's now called Creality Saves Jesus.
Oh Christ!
I know.
But then last
Like 24 hours later, he went back to criticize.
Yeah, he went straight back to debunking, as we'll see in a bit. Yeah, so it's just it's just a liar.
I apologize for saying awful things, and from now on in, biblical stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, when he says biblical cosmology, that just means flat Earth now, doesn't it? That when they say that, that's what they mean.
Yeah. I would imagine that most religious people would find him as loathsome as most globe earthers, really. I mean, he's not representing anybody well, is he?
But he goes to a church regularly. But then they tend to be the worst, don't they? I know this from my own parents. They would go to church every Sunday and pretend they were, godly, and then behave despicably to each other all week, and then go to church on Sunday again and absolve themselves of their despicable behaviour. So
churches where you go to sneer at other Christians' clothes.
Yeah. Okay, Flatzoids wasn't the only insincere apology last week. Marty Leeds issued this heartfelt retraction of his lies about Patricia Steer & Co., and then immediately buried them behind about 20 other uploads. Anyway, take a look.
Hey everybody, Brother Marty Leeds here. I just want to let everybody know that I, Brother Marty Leeds, never intended to claim as fact and withdraw any statements that may have been implied to do so, that Paul Lindbergh, otherwise known as Paul on the Plane, Robbie Davidson, and Patricia Steer were involved in illegal or fraudulent activity, that they committed SEC violations or were under criminal investigation or could face prison, that they participated in a rug pull, scam, or crypto fraud, or were blackmailed, coerced by the government, or threatened with prison or family loss, that they were offered deals or are now controlled by outside powers, that they knowingly lied to the Flat Earth community, that they colluded or conspired to mislead others, and that their return to the public scene was part of a coordinated cover-up. All parties understand that my video on these matters was never intended to be malicious, and that video is now taken down. So, all right, thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Yeah, like I say, he'd uploaded that and then uploaded 20 more videos, so that was, a long way back on his homepage and everything.
Yeah, if your apology's got that many commas in it, you've probably done something fucking wrong.
Yeah, and he's saying it at that speed as well to just try and.
Yeah.
It's not sincere in any way, is it? But
No, it's a bit like the advert, the serial at the Indigo. Contents may settle during transit.
But it did seem to me like he'd probably taken legal advice from somewhere, and they'd said, you should probably just issue a retraction, and then this can be over with, you know what I mean? And then, else it could cost you a lot of money, even if you win, you know what I mean? It could cost you a lot of money. Okay, Jeranism has started a new series of interviews with ex-flat earthers, which make interesting viewing. A couple of clips to come on this, starting with ex-flatty David Weber.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here on the WWF.
Yes, welcome.
I hoped that it had gone differently, but I have to report what happened.
You gotta be honest, right? I mean, so do I. I mean, I wanted it to be flat. I really did.
I did too.
But I guess we'll start with how you became a flat earther and where you're from, all that stuff. So just give us a little intro.
Okay, I'm David Weber from Laughlin, Nevada. So I was a air traffic controller for many years. I was a Navy air traffic controller, and then switched over to the civilian side out here in Nevada. And flat Earth seems self-explanatory to me. Like, you know, you walk outside, you don't think that we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour and moving 67,000 miles an hour. It seems so far-fetched. You know, and in the field I was in, I even started asking pilots, you know, when do they compensate for the curving and spinning Earth beneath the plane, stuff like that. And, you know, I would get dumbfounded looks, you know, like, what are you talking about? We don't do that. So that added further to my beliefs that this had to be flat. It had to be a flat world. That's what makes sense of what we observed, right? So
right.
I kind of started going on a quest using aviation to try and figure this out for sure. You know, I was very convinced. I loved the flat Earth map. That I so wanted that to be what we lived on, right? I mean, it was just my absolute favorite. I loved it. So anyway, so I set out to find out one way or another using flight routes around the world. What I did was I started with the LA to Dubai flight, which goes right by the North Pole. It's 15 hours there, 16 hours back, so it's one of the longest flights in the world.
Right.
It's an Airbus 380, so went over to Dubai. On the return trip, I absolutely hit the lottery. I had a window seat on the right side. We passed right by the North Pole, which at the time I was absolutely positive that was the center of what we lived on. I mean,
right.
So I was seeing the very center. So this would be a good time to play that clip.
Sure.
Passing the North Pole.
So that's the first one, right?
All right, I'm just doing a little video here, passing the North Pole 74 miles away off the right side here. Place where time does not exist, and it's the center of our existence, or the tippy top of the ball, if that's what you think it is. And I'll go ahead and take a look outside. Look at that. Stunning. Exactly 72 miles here would be the exact center, the North Pole. I don't think any airliner is going to get any closer than this. This is crazy. But yeah, not many people ever see this. And here it is, the very center.
Wow, so you're
wild. Look at that. There you go, guys.
So you said you're 74 miles there, so you can see it.
Right. Yes, you can see the pole.
Yeah, because I mean, I think from an
screen.
airplane, you should be able to see at least 300 miles every direction. So,
right.
So somewhere out here.
So I had a window seat there looking at the North Pole, which at the time I thought was the center of our whole existence. And it was a very exciting moment. And at this point, everything was still checking out for Flat Earth.
Right.
That route, it worked perfectly on either model, honestly. So, but we're still good at this point. So.
And what year was that you took that flight?
2023.
Okay.
So that was a very exciting moment. But I wanted to continue and look around the world at different flight routes. I started looking, on the flight tracking sites, what was going on down in the far south.
All right. Got another clip to come on that south stuff, but what do we think so far?
It's quite an interesting
idea. Barrel for them.
Sorry, say that again.
I think it's quite an interesting. Sorry, go on, yeah.
Yeah, go on, Termin. Say it again.
Flight paths are always bottom of the barrel arguments for them.
Right. Go ahead, Paz.
No, I was going to say I think it's an interesting concept too. He's in a position where he's changed his worldview, and it was the question was, what was he going to do? How was he going to present himself going forward and create content? And the "We Were Flat" show is quite an interesting idea.
Right, it is, isn't it? And he seems to think he's going to have quite a few people to go on it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it must drive people balmy that some people balmy he's doing that, because he's not actually attacking the opposing side at all, is he? Really directly.
Right.
He's just talking to people who've moved away from it.
Right.
He's not. It's almost like he's saying, "I'm only interested in those who come, who are coming that way." Really.
Right, and it is damaging for them to see this, because a lot of them work on the idea that everyone would believe this if only they knew about it. It's just most people, they haven't seen the flat earth stuff. If they'd only seen the secret hidden stuff, then they would believe it. So there can't be anyone who has seen the secret hidden stuff who then doesn't believe it. A lot of them work on that idea. Weiss and Sargent in particular, but I know there's others. Jason of the Disbury family, I know, when he met Cat Earth, who was a former flat earther, and Cat Earth, he didn't know at first. They were having a drink in a pub, and Cat Earth eventually, over time, told him that he had been a flat earther, and he no longer believed it. And Jason of the Disbury family just could not believe that. He could not cope with that idea at all, because his whole thing is built on that premise that we would all believe it if we'd only seen it.
Yeah, I think all the
attack them then.
Yeah, right. I think all the once you're flat you never go back memes might get a little dusty from here on in.
Right. Well, Mark Sargent's still claiming it, and David Weiss, I think. They still claim that nobody's ever left flat Earth, Or sometimes Mark Sargent will say, I think I had a clip of him on the last show where he said something like, no content creator has ever left flat Earth, or something like that. Apart from that Tiger Dan, and nobody knows who he is, or some shit like that, he said. All right, more from Jaron and David now, and we find out what happens when David travels south.
I came across this one flight that started to bother me. It was like they were showing this LATAM Airlines flight between Auckland, New Zealand, and Santiago, Chile, and I started seeing it. I'm like, that has to be a fake flight. There's no way that's a real flight. That I've read the books. I have all the books, and you can see that. Okay, so I had all the books. I'd read all this. I'm like, that's not possible. That's not possible that there's a direct flight between Auckland and Santiago. Absolutely no way. Or something's not right here, right? So I'm thinking this flight's fake, right? So it starts bugging me, and I'm kind of a YOLO guy, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to book this fake flight and see what happens. I enter all the information and everything, and I'm sure it's gonna come back and say flight not found, error code, something, right?
Right.
Because this is not possible, right? But to my dismay, the booking went through. It gave me a confirmation number, the money came out of my account, everything. At this point, I'm getting concerned. So at this point, I'm concerned, but I'm still thinking, all right, so it's going to be one of three scenarios are going to play out from this point. Either I'm going to get to the Auckland airport the day of the flight, and they're going to tell me that a mistake was made and that flight we don't have that flight, something like that. That's what I assumed would happen.
Right.
Okay, that was scenario one, right? I really wanted that to happen. Scenario two was get there and it is a real flight, but they're lying about the route that this flight takes or the time duration of it or something like that, right? So that was scenario two. Scenario three was that they aren't lying about anything and that it matches the ball model and all that, and that would be worst case scenario, right? So that was the three scenarios I would see play out from this point. So let's fast forward to the actual trip. Go down there, go to New Zealand. It comes the day of the flight, which was July 1st of last year, and I get to the airport and quickly rule out scenario one. It is a real flight. There's lots of people that are waiting for this flight. The plane is there. So now we're down to scenario 2 or scenario 3, right? I am really hoping with every fiber of my being that scenario 2 is what I was going to find. And this would be a good time to play the actual movie that I made. Dave here again. I'm at the Auckland International Airport, about to board the flight, and we're about to know, so stay tuned. All right, we have just departed Auckland. I've started the timer. We're just getting airborne now, Boeing 787, heading to Santiago. Guys, I did not understand this. We appear to be heading towards Antarctica. That's not what was supposed to happen. I always want to go to Antarctica, but not like this. Guys, we just hit the farthest south point closest to Antarctica. We're now turning northeast back up towards Santiago. So this has not been a good night for the flat Earth at all. This matches the ball completely. I cannot believe it right now. I'm in total shock, but it is what it is. I'm just reporting information. I'll have the final flight time here shortly. Alright, we are touching down in Santiago, Chile, and I'll be stopping the timer here in a second. So I'm here in Santiago International Airport. Just landed. Guys, it was 10 hours and 16 minutes.
What?
That's it. I might be on a ball. I cannot even believe this right now.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And so you knew in July 2024. So when you heard about the final experiment, what was your thoughts about that? Did you think, they're going to go down and find out?
You guys are gonna end up viewing things the same way I did. So,
wow.
So it was just these experiments keep piling up and they're not going well for flat Earth. I hate it. I really do. I loved being a flat earther. So this has it's not been fun, because I told so many people that we were on the flat Earth, and it was we'd argue, and it was always fun to argue that, and it becomes part of your identity almost.
Right. Yeah, I kind of because I like the contrarian part of it, that if somebody knows you're a flat earther, they kind of know that, this guy's he has crazy beliefs, leave him alone.
Right. Yeah, they think we're Looney Tunes, but I don't care much what people think, so I was just like, whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's just, to me, it was just obvious that the Earth was flat.
Yeah, I thought so too.
After doing this flight, I have no explanation for how that could happen, other than it has to connect in a ball formation. There is no possible way flat Earth map can be correct. There's no way.
Yeah, the lines of longitude.
I hate it. I really do.
The lines of longitude come back together at the South Pole. So
exactly, it does not expand out to an ice wall. It does. There's no way. So it turns out that they probably aren't lying about that. Now, I don't know where the truth ends and the lies begin. I'm not on board with the Big Bang and all the space models. I don't know yet. I have to consider it, but I don't know one way or another yet on that. I was just focused on what was simple to figure out the shape of what we actually lived on, and it was pretty definitive to me. As much as I wanted it to go in favor of the flat Earth, how can anyone argue? I mean, if you go take that flight yourself and you're still a flat earther after that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I would need to be committed if I still believed in flat Earth after actually being physically carried on a route that shows that it connects in a ball formation.
Well, I think the good thing is baby steps, right? So we don't need to go too crazy. It's a big change, and so. Right. And it's something that I think we can prove for ourselves. So there really shouldn't be anybody out there who's left wondering, because you can actually go out and prove this for yourself. And you don't need NASA, and you don't need government, and you don't need authority. You can do it on your own. So the other things, obviously, we're going to, dark matter, dark energy, Saturn, that kind of stuff. Well, I can't go and verify Saturn, right? I can't go do that. But you can verify the shape of the Earth. So let's start with that. And you did a good job at that. So tell me what it was like when you were a flat earther. Did you lose friends? Did you gain friends? Did you have any kind of community that you were involved with or anything like that?
I got unfriended a little bit on Facebook when I would do the posts, supporting flat Earth. I just think that's so ridiculous that they unfriend me over it.
Right.
But it is what it is. But I got in plenty of arguments, and being in the aviation field and believing in flat Earth, it was raised eyebrows, I guess.
Did anybody at your work know or no?
Oh yeah, I talked about it all the time.
Oh really? They didn't fire you?
No, because at the time,
Can I get your boss's name, please? I want to make sure that there's nobody else in the tower.
Right. So, at the time, everything I was finding out from pilots still backed flat Earth. So on a small scale, it seemed to still support flat Earth. And the one thing that I am still stuck on is how everything in the sky is perfectly matching the spin. The clouds are perfectly matching. That's one thing I still have a hard time with. I still don't understand that part of it.
Yeah, I think that it's once I realized that how slow the spin is, and then I kind of pictured, okay, so all the atmosphere has weight. That's why there's 14.7 pounds per square inch on us. So if you kind of picture that everything's weighing down on the Earth, and it's just spinning very slowly. So it's almost like that weight would keep it attached to the Earth. That's something I never really thought about before. I don't know if that's the actual answer. It's just how I've kind of conceptualized it. When you're talking about 1,000 miles per hour, you're thinking, oh, that thing's going to fly and the atmosphere gets left behind, right? But then when you actually see what 1,000 miles per hour is for something this large as the Earth, you can't even tell it's moving. That's how slowly it's spinning. So I think once I realized that kind of helped me a little bit there. Maybe it'd help you a little bit too. I know it's crazy because we think 1,000 miles per hour is incredibly fast, but as we know, when you were on that airplane, you were probably going 550. And would you have known if you were going 350, versus 550? Probably not. So you can kind of see where when you're inside that contained plane, you can't really tell speed. So the same thing is true on the Earth, that if you have the atmosphere weighing down and you're moving on the Earth and you're moving with it, I don't think you'd really tell. So that's how I kind of rationalize it, but I'm not sure that's 100% correct.
These are quite interesting, aren't they? A lot of people seem to think he's a Poe in the chat, but I don't think he was. I think he's for real.
He was in the aeronautical field and he didn't understand flight paths.
Yeah, that bothers me. The next time I fly into a strange towered airport, I've got questions.
But tower guy doesn't need to know if the Earth is flat or not. He just needs to be able to guide people in,
Right.
It doesn't matter if he worked.
But I think he did understand flight paths, though, because he used flight paths to formulate his understanding, I think.
Right.
Sure.
Right, and then he goes to he flew Auckland to Santiago, and guess what? The flight he flew pretty much matches the exact great circle route between those 2 points.
Right.
Well, listen. He to be fair to him, he does what a lot of people do. Wherever your perspective, you have a limited. Wherever you are, you have a limited perspective on something, some observational mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
You then go out and try and find proof, and you're likely, or you're inclined out of human nature, to go and find things that affirm it first. And the difficulty is when you have to go out and find things that when you start building strong, committed ideas about things, when you go and find things to the contrary, and that's the part that differentiates people who are generally endeavour to find the truth and those who don't want to.
Right.
And what he did wasn't cheap, because he had to get to Auckland and then fly all the way to Santiago.
Oh.
And my guess is he sounds like he lives in the United States somewhere.
Yeah, I'm guessing that if he was, doing that job, he probably had access to discounted flights. I'm guessing.
Still, it's a pretty penny.
And there's another really feeling thing. He says, I've kind of, it kind of all fits the globe model. He says that I'm not giving up. I'm not sure I'm not giving up on the, the space and the and the Big Bang and the Apollo. I mean, and that tells you a lot, because a lot of people would come down this. This is the carnival train. And they get on at one point, and they get taken somewhere else. And and somewhere on the other end, on the very end of all of that, is governments that fuck people over, and politicians that lie, and globalism that kills people in another part of the world for your trainers, And all that, there's some real shit going on, but there's this tunnel that takes people beyond the kind of what we understand. The world is full of deception, but it's not actually that fucking difficult to find it.
Right.
The real conspiracies aren't that particularly well hidden. But if you get taken down this tunnel of saying, "Oh, well, this didn't happen," and JFK and blah 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 blah, this is where you end up, where this guy was.
Right.
Well, it's a really good conspiracy if there's absolutely no evidence for it.
Yeah. Right, the first of Jeran's ex-Flatty interviews was with this guy, Mellowdome, who also has an interesting story to tell. Enjoy.
I don't want people to feel like upset or I'm talking specifically about them, even though you still might be a flat earther. I'm just sharing my experience as someone who was also a flat earther. And I got into it in 2019. Always been into conspiracies. I was listening to Sam Tripoli a lot. It was all about, Bilderberg groups and all this BlackRock, all that type of shit, 9/11. And then I came across Dave Weiss flat smacking Sam Tripoli, and it led me to Globebusters, led me to you. And ironically, at that same time, which, looking at it now, I feel like I was at a vulnerable state now. But at that time, I was also just getting clean from heroin and meth, painkillers, me and my wife. And so I needed there was this void that needed to be filled to keep my mind busy, and Flat Earth came around at that same time. And I was working somewhere where I was able to have headphones in most of the day. So I just consumed all of this content and started diving into it. And that's where it started, 2019, late 2018, early 2019. So.
Okay. I'm seeing a common thread just in talking to people so far, trying to figure out why people got into this. And it seems like everybody had some sort of event at that time, whether it was losing friends, whether it was a divorce, whether it was losing somebody in their family. Almost like everybody had a need for something and then they went out looking. So just kind of an interesting thread we're already finding.
Yeah, dude, I lost both my parents just a couple years in between each other just before that. So both my parents gone. Already blackballed myself with the rest of my family because of my drug use. Had no friendships. It was just me and my wife. So that's what also really got me to latch on was this sense of community.
Yeah.
To this day, I have some amazing friendships. Some of them were in my wedding. There's a couple fellas that are in my wedding, and good friends with them still to this day. And so there is good things that came out of this, and then meeting other people, building online relationships like with you and many others. I latched onto that. That was a big part of this for sure. Like the meetups, the events that I went to, and there's a rush with that. Yeah, but before I started doing my own sun observations, I was convinced. I was just listening to random people on the internet, dude. At the end of the day, like Dave Weiss, he's wrong a lot, bro. And I regurgitate a lot of dumb shit he said. So just saying.
Yeah, no, believe me, I agree. I saw the same thing. Do you think that if somebody would have asked you 2 years ago if there was a chance the Earth wasn't flat, what would you have said?
Nah, bro. Nah, I was in deep,
Yeah,
bro. I thought we had the truth, bro.
Yeah, that's the scariest part. The scariest part is I think I even said at one point about the moon landing, like I would bet my life on it. Which you're like, now I'm thinking like, nope.
Yeah.
Now I'm not doing that. But it's just kind of a different
man,
thing.
I was convinced, dude. I thought the Earth was flat. It's like there's no way it's a globe.
Yeah.
I would look at other things before it was even a globe. Like I wouldn't even listen to people who thought it was a globe. That's
Right.
another thing.
Just
that's
count them completely,
so
huh?
detrimental to yourself. Yeah, putting blinders on.
Right. And just assuming that they're all lying, right? Because I mean, for me, MC Toon, FTFE, those are guys I just assumed or considered liars. That was it. That was just what they had to be because they were Globers. So you obviously turn off all the naysayers. You turn off all the people giving you the actual information that you need, and then you only listen to the flat Earth side, which is just repeating indoctrination. Right? This whole thing about you can't tell the lights or the shape of the ground by lights in the sky is insane. It's no time in history has a group of people ever thought they could dictate what evidence was. but this group does. They're like, we're just shutting that down because somebody said it and they just all started repeating it. So yeah, it is kind of a dogmatic. It's definitely an indoctrination when you keep repeating something to the point where everybody says it without thinking. So yeah, it's definitely a strange situation that we're seeing. But I think it's
and we
good.
see that so much. We see that so much because we did that. So it doesn't work on us. Like when we're seeing that being done to ourselves, like, dude, did I do that? I fucking did that for 6 years. Jesus.
And it becomes obvious now when you hear it, huh? When you see somebody do it, and you're just like, oh man. When I was
I used to say those things. I used to say those things too.
When I was giving my presentation in LA, this girl in the audience asked me, so what did flat earthers think the stars are then? And so I'm like, oh, well, what I would have said before is that, and then like, as I'm saying there are lights in the sky, I felt like the biggest idiot in the world. I'm like, oh, we would tell you that there are lights in the sky. And then she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you know what? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I cannot tell you anything beyond that.
We don't know. We don't know anything.
We don't
got
know.
a map? No, I don't know.
No map, no model, no idea. So anyway, okay. And
yeah,
then,
dude, that was okay. Go ahead. I don't want to.
Well, no, I was going to say. So you got into it because you were looking for something. You found this, and it does have some good points because I don't think they taught us well in school, right? Like, think about the 1,000-mile-per-hour spin. When you hear that, it's jarring. You're like, well, we're spinning 1,000 miles per hour. We should be falling off the earth. Should be flying off the earth. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that 1,000 miles per hour is incredibly, incredibly slow. Because if you imagine yourself being in space watching the Earth spin, it only goes around once a day. You wouldn't even see it moving. It would be just floating there and moving.
It still sounds ridiculous to me, though.
It does sound ridiculous.
But the thing is, like, our observations line up with a model, and I can't sit here and be a guy that's like, oh yeah, I don't do models. Like, we homeschool our children. Like, what am I supposed to teach them? Oh, Jupiter? We don't know.
Light
the
in
moon?
the sky?
I don't know. Sometimes it's translucent, sometimes it's not. It's whatever you want it to be. I can't do that here.
Yeah, and it's not good to do anyway because I kind of put it this way. I don't think that we would have very many things in the world if that's how we all operated. So thank goodness that the people before us didn't do that, because what happens is that I would even say, like, if flat earthers were in charge of the world, we wouldn't have cars, we wouldn't have planes. And the reason for that is because really you have to, as a collective unit, decide something that's true and move forward with that, or decide what's better and move forward with that. And then that's what everybody builds on, and that's how you get better as a society. You can't have a bunch of people who just refuse to acknowledge evidence or refuse to acknowledge facts because they're going to hold everybody back. So to me, it's obviously embarrassing that I was part of that group holding people back. But that's what we were doing. I mean, think about it. In 10 years, we did nothing. We provided nothing. We discovered nothing. We uncovered nothing. So what is the flat Earth's point? What did they think is going to happen? Because I thought it was to take over the globe, right? That was the goal, to be the best description of the world. But we attempted that, and we couldn't do that. I mean, we can't even predict a sunrise or sunset or explain the sun and those things. So my hope would be, and I guess this is obviously a high hope, but in a perfect world, all flat earthers would today decide, you know what? The globe is the better model as of right now. That's what we need to worry about. Now, you can still believe in the back of your head, maybe it's flat. I'm going to talk about it being flat, or I'm going to consider it being flat. And then you can still look into that. But the whole world moves forward now knowing that we're on a globe. That, to me, is what humanity should do if they cared about the progression of society. Because if you have people hanging back, and because those people are going into Facebook and telling people off like that they're idiots for believing that the Earth is a ball.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah, they're making fun of them.
Man.
So I don't know if you see the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. I look at it now, like I used to think that the heliocentric globe model, whether you think it's geocentric or heliocentric, but I thought it was just a huge deception. But now, just over 10 months in of my daily sun observations, which I'm standing on the shoulders of giants because there was large groups of other humans, many humans, people who passed down their work that worked out this working model of the sky. And now I don't look at it as a deception. I think it's one of the greatest achievements mankind could ever have done, to track all of these things in the sky and try to get a better bearing of where we are in the universe, right? Or the cosmos, or this place, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. it's fucking crazy. It's so crazy to where we're here at this point. And a lot of people,
is.
like, I get comments like, oh, you were never really a flat earther. I knew you weren't really a flat earther. That's a bunch of bullshit. You know, it's just a bunch of bullshit. Like, I was here, I was a part of this community. I wanted to be a part of it. I created friendships, partnerships, you know, put a lot of effort into it. I wanted to help people in this community, you know, and, but.
And you even wanted the Earth to be flat, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, dude, I wanted it to set when you
Me
went
too.
down there. Like,
the great Gertrude Perkins says, we gather here today to mourn the passing of the Flat Earth Grift, 2016 to 2025. May it rest in pieces, and may Nathan Oakley get a proper job. Thank you very much for that, the great Gertrude Perkins. Very, very much appreciated. Please feel free to super chat the show if you're enjoying the content. It will be very, very much appreciated. I'm very, very low on super chats this month. The worst month ever for as long as I can remember. So if you can help me out, it'd be great. Thank you very much. Now, anyway, any thoughts on that?
Yes. Let me jump in first.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let me jump in first and say I do not appreciate him wearing a Dallas Mavericks hat. Jared is not from Dallas. He's not in Texas. I don't know why he's wearing that hat. Other than maybe Kyrie Irving, I don't know.
Are you a fan of the Dallas Mavericks?
Perhaps.
What sport do they play?
Basketball.
Right, I had no idea. I thought it might be basketball because I had no idea. Right, yeah. So I thought it was interesting that he said right at the start there, they talked about how, you know, and Jeran recognised something that I've recognised and talked about many times, is that often people who get into Flat Earth, they get into it at some point of sort of emotional trauma in their life. You know, their marriage has ended, or they had some bad accident that forced them off work, or, you know, their business went under, or it's often things like that, I think, that seem to be at the beginning of people's conspiracy journey, you know.
That's what we've explained to the flat earthers is the reason they became flat earthers. Like, he literally stole that from us.
Right.
He's appropriating our culture, Jam.
And the other thing, I mean, I've made this argument many times, and I don't think anybody else really does. And I got into a long tangle with Quantum Erasure about this once. This thing about saying the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour.
He just now realized it's 24 hours. Gee.
Right. I mean, it's deliberate. I know, it's interesting, isn't it, that he said, only recently did I realise this. You know, and you think, well, why only recently? Because, and I think that was deliberately deceptive. I think people came up with that, even though it's true. I think it, you know, in one sense it's true. I think it tricks people. And I've actually heard someone, a flat earther, make the argument that there shouldn't be pictures of the Earth from space, because how can they get a clear picture of the Earth from space when it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? It should be just blurred.
Oh, it's a Brian Mabbott argument, yeah.
It comes down to them. I mean, when they say that, it comes down to the fact that they get themselves in a mental state where 1,000 miles an hour with lots of the zeros and the preposterous of that, when you think about what 1,000 miles an hour means on the ground, is a preposterous enough boundary for you not to think of any other ramifications. They all know the Earth goes around 24 hours in the global model. They understand that the sun goes round because they've got the equivalents in their own AE scope, but they don't need to go to that point. They don't need to uncomfort themselves with something beyond the preposterous boundary that sets everything up to be scoffed at.
Right.
It's something that people in that situation. I mean, like you say, when he said about, you know, Austin was saying about, me and my wife were coming off of cocaine and my shoulders just slumped. I thought, oh fucking hell! And you realise that these are, you know, there are actual people going through this who then find these things, and you know, the internet's not good for people quite often. You know? It really isn't.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, Austin Whitsitt looks terrible in that video. Jem, what happened to him?
No, this is a different Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, a different Austin.
Wouldn't you guys agree that Jaron is a publicitard in every sense of the word now that he's moved over from a pro-flat Earth stance to an anti-flat Earth stance and is now organizing and basically trying to get a YouTube channel going that is for the ex-flat Earthers?
Yeah,
I've got no bugbear with that, one way or the other.
No,
I've got no bugbear.
You know,
that's how he makes. That's his job. That's how he makes his living. You know,
Right,
he's been forced into this position where he's got to sort of change what he does. All power to him, I say.
But it just kind of reinforces that a lot of these flat earthers are just the ones that are content creators are just not out there for the publicity and don't give a damn about what the actual facts are.
Well, you know, to be fair though, I think creating content is very, very time consuming. And I think if you can get it so it becomes your job, then I don't blame people for only doing that exclusively and relying on it for their income. And then once they're in that position, you know, they kind of haven't really got a choice, have they? They've got to keep making content, you know, if that's become your job. You know, just like if you're a plumber, you've got to keep getting bookings and going out and fixing people's plumbing, you know?
Yeah. And to be frank and clear, if there was someone online making content, you know, definitely making content, and their position was for example, politically right-wing one, and all of a sudden they choose the left. In my opinion, I wouldn't have begun. I think that's more interesting because you were able then to discuss. You know, you're getting a perspective on someone who is changing their perspective, and that's useful for it. Far more interested in listening to people who change their mind than people who resolutely stay in one position.
Right.
Yeah, but those on the right and those that are in the flat Earth community are peddling lies in many cases and are using those lies as a way of their grift. And then all of a sudden now you get Jaron, who basically got caught with his pants down in Antarctica and suddenly realized I'm going to have to change my argument and is trying to maintain. I understand he has to make a living at it, but maybe he should admit that the entire thing was a grift in the start, you know, from the first place.
Well, he is. I mean, to the extent in which, I mean, when you say peddling the lies, he's not sitting there thinking, "I am peddling a lie." This is the problem.
Right.
If you think that all flat earthers are just thinking, "This is a lie, but I'm making money off of it," that's not representative of them. A lot of them.
And he has addressed that directly many times, that because people call him a liar, and he said, "I'm not a liar." You know, he's made this argument many times. He said, "I might be wrong, but that doesn't make me a liar." You know, because you know, he wholeheartedly believed what he was saying, and I think that's probably true. Thank you very much, Biggest Doggers, who has stuck some in my PayPal. Thank you very much. If you would like to stick some in my PayPal account, the link is in the description. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not talking about a majority of those.
PayPal for his birthday.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
This is the last. Is this the last? It is the last show before my birthday, which is the big 60. I am 60
Congratulations.
I'm 60 in on the 29th anyway. In like, I think it's a week on Tuesday. Is it something like that? Anyway. Thank you very much for all the lovely super chats and PayPals. If you could do it, it's appreciated and very needed. Sorry, Pazza, go ahead.
No, I mean, one thing I will say, many happy returns, Jim, when it does eventually arrive, is Austin was talking about his making celestial observations now, and he's actually sounds like he's actually reading stuff that's gone on, and he says he understands the standing on the shoulders of giants and this sort of thing, and he's understanding how profoundly important and complex astronomy is, you know. And he was never going to do that when he was a flat earther,
right?
Because they create this construct where everybody that's got telescopes and James Webb and all that, it's just twiddling to create CGI, and you're stuck. You can't evaluate it properly.
Right. We have a couple more super chats. One from Work Through, who says, "Happy birthday, Jem." Thank you very much. And Tis I the Count says, for a slow month. Thanks for the shows and happy birthday. Thank you very much. 'Tis I the Count. Much appreciated, all those people. Thank you. Sorry, did someone else have a comment?
Yeah, just very quickly. It's a minority of flat earthers that I'm talking about who are the publicitards and who are lying and know they were lying. I just think there's the Nathan Oakleys and the people like that who I think in the back of their mind just know that the Earth is definitely a globe.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
I think that's true. But for me, Jaren's always been a bit of a... I've always... I've kind of chucked him in with the rest, and then every so often he'll do or say something that makes you think, actually, that seems quite sincere, So, like, for instance, years and years ago, Tim Osman, not the weird one that that Pete Shea hangs out with, but the one that comes here sometimes on a Sunday, Tim Osman managed to get Jeren to come in my hangout when we did Google Hangouts. And he didn't, he was a big deal then, probably a bigger deal than he, because there weren't that many flat earthers then. And he came in my hangout and sort of hung out with us and debated with us for an hour or two, And he didn't have to do that. None of the others do, none of the others expose themselves to that. Bob would sometimes go in a Discord, but then, or something like that, but he would always demand that, he had moderator rights and things like that. That would be his first thing. When he got in somebody else's YouTube chat, he would demand moderator rights. He had this story that he would tell that he was being, what do they call it, ghost banned or whatever, so that, and he said, if you give me mods, that doesn't happen. That was his bullshit story. Anyway, we ought to get on with this. More from Jeren and Mellowdome now, and Jeren explains why Flat Earth is cult-like.
Well, that's how it becomes cult-like, is because, again, if everybody in the community is listening to Flat Earth content creators, and those content creators are getting things wrong, but nobody is going to speak up and say, hey, that's wrong, then you've got this whole group of people who are watching content creators who are very confident and saying things confidently, and then they believe things confidently, and they're going to Facebook and yelling it confidently and telling their family off and telling their brother or sister that they're morons. And I mean, that's a problem, because you have to have some sort of check in place. You have to have a check balance. Because here's the thing, flat earthers are not doing the research. They're listening to Dave Weiss say something, then they're believing it. Because if he's saying it and nobody's stopping him, then he must be right. But the truth is, now I've realized what Dave does is he blocks everybody. So Dave doesn't even see MC Toon, FTFE, doesn't see me anymore. He doesn't see you anymore because he blocked us. So how is he ever going to realize that he's wrong? There's no way for him to do that.
You won't watch any of the videos I made of him saying the very words like, everyone forgets what he said. I didn't forget. Patrick Farm remembered. He said it. He said that, go down and prove the globe by filming a 24-hour sun.
Right. And then if he's going to change it now and he's going to be like, we have to be weary of that, right? If somebody's able to just change anything, then they'll never be wrong. And you better be careful listening to them. It's like Dean Odle. Dean Odle said, hey, here's how we figure it out. We go down there for a week in the summer. If the sun circles, then we know it's a globe. And if it sets, then we know it's flat. So we go do that. And then we come back and he's like, Satan. Satan was the sun. So in a person like that, what you should immediately do is stop listening to that person for any kind of truth, because that's not truth. That's him
moving the goalpost.
Yeah, weaseling out of whatever he said. Same thing with Weiss. I mean, that's not, at least if you, I know you hate me, everybody was used to be watching me, but hey, at least I've been honest, and that's all I can say. You can keep following the dishonest people and believe that they're the ones who know the shape of the earth. They don't. I hate to tell you. So my question would be that what was the first chink in the armor then? So you are basically, you get into flat earth, you start doing shows, you're talking about it, you're confident about it. If somebody would have asked you a couple years ago, you would have said, no, there's no chance it's not flat. So what was the first kick to the nuts, if you will?
Last April during the total solar eclipse.
So I remember that happening, because you mean how everybody was saying it wasn't the moon, and then you even were writing to me and sending me videos like, no, even Rum Boston Bear seemed to have picked up even features on it for a short time right at the time of the eclipse on.
Yeah, you were doing a Glowbuster show, and Dave came on and was talking about his garbage video that he posted on his app that was completely misrepresenting what actually was observed. He was showing a animation. And thankfully, I was at work, but thankfully you threw me the link to jump on, and I squeezed in 45 seconds of explaining why that animation was garbage. Like, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. It makes a lot of sense. You know, just, it was very deceitful. And I knew right away, like, oh, this is garbage video. Like, this is totally not what we're observing with the moon. And, you know, there was even other content creators claiming that that black disc had a smooth edge, right? Like real smooth, fine edge. And that was their reasons for claiming it's one of their reasons for claiming that it's not the moon. But playing around with my footage with myself and Maltese Canuck, he also documented it up in Canada. But playing around with the footage, you could then see on that black disc, the edge, you could see the topography, like
mountains,
bunch of mountains and terrain along the edge of this this black disc. And that's how a lot of the Bailey's beads are able to peek around, because they're like on a dip or a crevice, a crater on the side of the moon. And yeah, so that was the start, the solar eclipse. And then about a month after that, I started the daily sun observations. Oh, and another one that broke a chain is I documented the Atlas comet last year.
Mm-hmm.
While every flat earther sharing a link talking about how it's fake, I spent 4 days in a row, 4 nights in a row documenting that beautiful motherfucker.
So is it
hype too?
Is it liars or just people who don't understand when we? Okay, so everybody in the flat
I
earth.
think it's both.
It's a little bit of both.
I think there's both. There's people who got a little cash cow on it, and then there's people who were deceived.
Well, you know, they're
Dude,
over
I
there
was
on
watching that live stream live at work while you guys were there, and watching the sun out there in the south just below the horizon. I'm like,
straight south,
what
straight
the
south.
Fuck, dude.
Austin and I were like,
think
it's
a
the
glow,
coffee
bro.
cup caustic. We're like, yeah, sure.
See, at that point, I didn't buy that shit because I was already like, 8 months, 6 months or something into my observation. I was convinced it's a physical item. It's not this focal point of light or some illusion. You know, it's not some bendy light thing. It's a physical item. So that killed it for me. It's like, fuck, dude, it's a fucking globe. I was told I'm doing this for money and popularity. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense. Have you seen the views on my channel since I've been talking about this shit?
Right.
It's like I'm barely getting 100 views. Who's paying me? Nobody.
Yeah.
No one pays me my job where I work at, motherfuckers. I feel like a lot of these people are just so broken that this is their home, just like it was my home. Like,
Right.
you live in these chats and they think they're free and they call themselves truthers, but you're in everyone's live chat all fucking day. Tell me you're not in the Matrix right now.
Right.
You know, and you got a handle and you're using other people's handles. You're not even talking to other people with the real names. It's just, it's a facade, man.
So that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, okay, so it's just a lot of people who don't want to give up a belief. And so they're willing to throw me under the bus, to throw you under the bus, to throw Will Duffy under the bus, call him a Satanist, a demon, whatever. They'll do anything, literally anything, to keep their belief alive. So that includes, I wish people would recognize that. So you shouldn't listen to Dave Weiss anymore, because who he is somebody who's going to say anything to keep the belief in the flat earth going. So again, now he's talking about he has a whistleblower from Microsoft who was down in Antarctica at that time to fake the sun. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yes, he ain't got shit.
Whistleblower. Oh boy, it's pretty bad.
Flat Earth Dave. He ain't got shit,
Dave.
man. He's a liar.
Well, he certainly doesn't have evidence of the flat earth, that's for sure. So, all right.
I think he owes you and Will some Bitcoins.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the one who said what would constitute proof. So, yeah, we're going to try and keep these short. I know we're already almost to the hour. So,
yeah, man.
But I wanted to kind of get some comment threads, because what it seems like is happening is people who were at a place in their life that they needed something. Somehow they were online, they found the flat earth, they started looking into it. Because we weren't really taught it well in school, and we didn't go to college, a lot of us, well, maybe that's why it's very easy to say, oh, you know what? That makes more sense that the earth is flat. Because I think all of us our whole life have looked around and said, yeah, the earth looks flat. Okay, well, we just dismiss it. But then when somebody mentions that it could be flat, and you see there's a bunch of people saying the same thing, it's just very easy to fall into that group. And at the beginning of it, it was a bunch of open-minded people that were just welcoming to anybody. I mean, now it's kind of different.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
It changed.
I agree with that.
Okay, and then in the middle of it, we all felt very confident for whatever reason, but I think it's mostly because we stopped watching debunkers. We don't watch Professor Dave. We don't watch Simon Dan. We watch our own people. And if you're just basically blowing smoke up each other's ass and telling them how great they are and how great each other is and how smart we are and how much more we know than the mainstream, then it just builds you a little cocky attitude. For me, once you start going to conferences and people start showing up to see you, they used to ask for your autograph, which I still think is weird, but at the same time, your brain is going to build up a little barrier. It's going to say, I don't want this to go away. I'm going to shoo away anything from outside this because I don't want this feeling to go away. So I think that's what happens there. And then something breaks through on the end. So for you, it was observation. For me, it was observation. So already I'm kind of keeping a chart. And by the way, I expect a lot of these because I think a lot of people, as soon as I announced it the first time, I had 2 people reach out who I've never heard of. And I just told them, hey, when you come on, you're going to need to show us some sort of evidence that you've been a flat earther, just so I know that that's true. But they're willing. They all have the same story. Yeah. So they're going to start coming on. These might happen 3-4 times a week.
So some of these people are people I don't even know of yet?
Yep.
Like they're not in the, okay, hell yeah.
People from just Facebook, and they will show me posts from 2019 or 2022 that, they're flat earthers. So, and now that they've come out, they want to have their voice heard because they do think it will help those who are in it. Because I think that might be the case, right? So I got jumped, just like you get jumped when you leave a gang. They jump me.
Straight up, bro.
Right. Yeah, they
jumped out. Jump me out, bro.
I got jumped out so that now nobody feels like comfortable leaving. But I think if they hear everybody getting up on the show and just saying basically the same story, and then they can kind of see where are they at in the path. It's, I remember that. Okay, I did that. I just haven't had the observation moment yet. And then they need to go make an observation, right? So
Dude,
far,
I'm confident that this is what people need because I've had people reach out. Some people pretty popular, like in there that you don't really see anymore, telling me to keep doing the observations and saying all the things I've been saying. This was months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they wouldn't dare come out and saying these things, but they are finding the truth as well. And they like hearing people like you saying all these things and me with observations like you just drilling in the points on the Unplugged series. Like it's a lot of good gravy in that shit,
These are long clips, I know, but they are interesting, I think, isn't it? To hear all this sort of...
It's fascinating, aren't they?
Yeah, behind-the-scenes stuff.
I liked how he equated leaving the flat earth like leaving a gang where you get jumped on your way out.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it touched on the Austin was touching there on the fact that, he did find, like you say, he found an idea, but he found people. And you can't deny that it is a potent community, and it makes really no demands initially beyond the near,
right,
and a willingness to like reward affirmation with allegiance, and it resonates with all the key aspects of someone who's got like a core derision of authority. It ferments inverse intellectual snobbery. So, and it also, it allows you to, it's a platform for all the kind of usual crap about misogyny and anti-Semitism. So it kind of, it is quite a draw, for a lot of people.
Right, and I think it sort of taps into something. I think many people have the feeling, I'm sure I've read this somewhere, the feeling that there's something going on and that something is coming, that sort of just that general idea, not necessarily formulated in any way, but I think a lot of people have that feeling, and I think conspiracy theories tap into that, don't they? That I think that's a feeling we all have at some point.
Yeah. Every time a flock of birds leaves a tree, the primordial part of you looks around and is uneasy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it is quite. I understand why. I mean, this is why people. The world is a logical disjoint in many respects. Suburbia and working, and you get them to say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a slave to the system." Well, what system? What system do you think you're a slave to, and what system aren't you going to be a slave in? You're an organism.
Right.
If you weren't doing this, you'd be scrabbling around, stopping yourself starving to death. And the first.
Right.
It's strange how people in the modern world think they're hard done by.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, it must have been very, very time consuming being a you know, a hunter-gatherer, you know.
Oh, blimey.
And you only have to look at these lost tribes and, you know, how they'll risk life and limb just to get a piece of clothing. Because, you know, they have to live all their life without any actual clothing, just what they can, you know, construct out of leaves. But literally, I mean, it sounds like I'm taking the piss, but, you know, that is what they have to do, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're talking like some sort of like, you know, abstract from what the videos we've shown, but the fact we're tapping into human behavior ultimately, and we're saying that people who, you know, you said about, but we had something going on in our lives, and that and things, voices on the internet that resonate with that, and the fact that, you know, this doesn't seem right, or I'm being fucked over somehow, or nothing seems to work how I expect it to. That's quite, you know, quite an alluring concept to explore, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna. I hope he gets more of these because they're interesting, I think. Anyway,
I'll say he's 100.
Oh, go ahead.
He was 100% right. He was in a cult.
Yeah.
It's very rare for people to talk themselves out of being in a cult, but it does happen.
Right. The final experiment documentary is in production, and this week saw the release of the trailer. Take a look.
Hey everyone, we are live from Antarctica.
It's never been done before. I can't find any evidence of any flat earther going to Antarctica. You certainly can't find any evidence of a group of flat and globe earthers going together to try and prove each other wrong.
I was alerted that our flight was the #1 tracked flight yesterday.
They were 400 miles in.
Whoa.
So this was part of the final experiment.
I was shocked that it's the 21st century and people are still debating the shape of the Earth. I didn't know what I was going to do yet. I just needed to find it. Just a perfect final experiment. I had heard so many videos from flat earthers stating that Antarctica does hold the key to the truth.
I'm here to do the science, to partner with people that want to partner.
I think people will look back on of us going as something that is special.
I just heard about it. I thought this was something that I wanted to participate in. I mean, it just excited me, the whole idea.
He maintains that it is to move the discussion forward.
What I ended up learning throughout this journey was something that I would have never seen coming.
Big up to God because he has a funny way. He has a funny way of humbling people.
This is not what we agreed to. You guys are changing the rules. If that's what you guys want your legacy to be, that's fine.
We can't just have a discussion about maybe just staying here? I mean, I'm not even sure that any of us would object to it.
I'll be there. It's too important to me.
That looks good, doesn't it?
Jim, it's such a cliffhanger. When will we find out?
Well, let's hope he recoups some of the revenue that he spent.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a few quid off that, I do.
Yeah. Was there a release date? I didn't see it in the...
No, that's the annoying thing. There's no release date, and there's no, you know, it doesn't say where you'll be able to see it either. But I guess they're going to try and flog it, aren't they, to Netflix or iTunes or someone.
Quick, someone get shot.
All right, next.
He doesn't want anything to do with the flat Earth.
You know, that first sentence. That first sentence when he said, "I can't believe it's the year." What did he say? 21st century or 2020? I forget what he said, but
yeah.
And he says, "If people think the Earth is flat, you can just replace that with people think the Earth is 6,000 years old."
Right.
Right. Well, that was not part of the documentary, Jake.
It'll be interesting to see how Jeran and Whitsitt and and the lot are all portrayed in it. And how Jeran, what's Jeran's take on it? I'm sure we all understand what Witt's take's going to be.
Right.
But, I think Jeran may want to make reference to it as well. I should imagine.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some issue though about the flat earthers not wanting to be portrayed in someone else's work?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I'm not quite sure how.
Big fit about being on camera.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that's played out. I think he must have left Whitsitt and Jeran out probably, but clearly they're in there somewhere, aren't they?
This also may be a reason why there isn't a release date as such.
Right, yeah, because they had sort of final say on the edit, I think, was the agreement, wasn't it?
Right.
Anyway, next, Flatzoid, who vowed not to engage in debating Flat Earth anymore, immediately felt the need to debunk this trailer. Here are him and his team of dumbasses in action.
Yeah, this is Duffy's trailer. What's up, David?
Hey everyone, we are live.
So we hate ourselves.
Antarctica.
Hate ourselves. Oh no,
It's never been done before. I can't find any evidence of any flat earther going to Antarctica. And certainly can't find any evidence of a group of flat and globe earthers going together to try and prove each other wrong.
I was alerted that our flight was the #1 tracked flight yesterday.
#1
They were 400 miles in.
Was it? Guys. You're going to have to pause, unfortunately, so we can make commentary. He's already said the stuff before, so it doesn't... Not really new information that he said there, does it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like I say, I just think there's got to be a big work of fiction like the other one was. You know what I mean?
How long did it take him to put this together? Be honest.
A few months.
I know.
But remember, I did say to Jonathan that it's probably going to come out end of April. So I was right on the money.
Yeah, you nailed it. You were right.
Absolutely.
This is under NASA footage. We're just going to categorize this under NASA footage.
Yeah, look, guys, we're definitely going to dissect the mockumentary for sure. There's no doubt about that.
So we go.
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of the final experiment.
Yeah. Wow.
I was shocked that it's the 21st century and people are still debating the shape of the Earth.
Hey, there is no debate.
Wait. We were also shocked.
Yeah.
We were also shocked. You know why? Because people are still dumb enough to believe that they can go to a place that violates natural law. People are still dumb enough to think that you stand and the Earth is moving, and that they still believe they measured the Earth curve.
Just to think that someone's antipodal to me, standing opposite to me, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Upside down, for that matter.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I didn't know what I was going to do yet. I just needed to find it.
No, he knew exactly what he's going to do. Oh man!
Look at the meeting. Look at the meeting Duffy and McTooney is having. Yes, because they're longtime friends.
Yeah,
they're so comfortable together, man.
I still do believe that this was planned by these two a long time ago.
Yep.
Do you think when the
I think Toon's head, to be honest, if not.
It had that young shot of him in there, Duffy. It looked like that reminded me of that picture of like they're in that little cafe there. Yeah.
We're gonna see though in the documentary when it comes out, we're probably going to be able to see if their ages line up. Because if you pick it up like you just picked up in the trailer, there's a good chance that we'll be able to pick it up in the documentary as well. And we'll be able then to show, well, guys, they didn't actually do all of it on one trip. I just got to point out again to all the trolls, I've never left Flat Earth. Stop lying to people, say I've left Flat Earth. Stop saying we're not going to do Flat Earth content. I never said that either. I said we're not going to engage with the anti-Flat Earthers. We're not doing Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Biblical cosmology is literal Flat Earth, guys, if you haven't realized that.
Yeah. It is. Now,
to final experiment.
Antarctica. Wow. 9 strangers.
9 strangers. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not strangers.
Wow.
Oh my gosh!
I don't want to point out as well, guys. They had the time to do this hiking and cinematic video. They had to plan this for the documentary. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah, just to let you know.
Madness.
Oh.
And while they were sleeping at the tables, apparently.
Wow. Few seconds in, and they're already lying.
I want to point out believes and they put Jaren on curved water, putting Elizabeth. There's no curved water. What the hell are they talking about?
Have you noticed sky though? Look
Did
at
you see
sky.
did you see the snow and all that, the wind and all that?
The wind, the snow.
That looked like actual footage.
Yes.
And then the TFE footage is crystal clear.
Yeah.
Look how great the sky is.
I can't believe I'm seeing curved water.
I know.
in bold letters.
And you put flight paths on.
Flight paths already.
I still want them to tell us why they have a ceiling of 13,000 feet when flying in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Why? Why is your ceiling 13,000 feet?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Why exactly?
These are two big so far, two big irrefutable realities that they have a problem with. And that's why they're putting it there, because they have to try to combat the truth.
Yep.
It's crazy.
That's it.
From flat earthers stating that Antarctica.
Sorry.
Critical thing.
Critical thing with his weights, where he says, no, I don't have to account for any controls. Why do I need to account for it? I got the results I wanted.
And there's Matt. Hold the key to the truth.
I'm here to do the science, to
McCune and science don't go hand in hand, just to let you know.
Yeah. McCune in science, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Toy science.
partner with people that want to partner.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Why does that sun look different?
That looks weird.
Compared to the sun they were showing. The flares and everything look very different.
Yeah. I wonder
this
why.
looks more original to me.
Wow. What the heck?
Because when you review actual sun footage from people in Antarctica, the flares look very similar to how it's looking now.
Why are the shadows not blue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, obviously, he could have done. Remember, he's made a documentary, so he's done contrast and changed the lights and everything to make
filters.
The filter. So that's fine. But the point I'm trying to make now is look at the sun specifically, how it looks. Okay. And we can compare it to actual footage from Antarctica. That's practically how it looks. But the ones we saw from their 24-hour time lapses and stuff doesn't look like that.
Not at all. Nope.
At all.
That's studio work, dude.
And probably if we take a look at their time lapse and we have to take where the sun's position is compared to this, the height is going to differ as well.
Oh, yeah. A lot lower.
Because that does look a bit different than the height that they were showing us if we look in that direction. I thought that was it.
It's almost.
I think people look at of us going as something that is special.
I just heard about it. I thought this was something that I wanted to participate in.
Why is all their video footage showing clouds everywhere?
Yes. Yes. That footage is completely different. Completely different from what
because all the video footage we were watching from their stuff was showing no clouds. Now all the video footage is showing clouds.
Yep. Yeah. This is madness, man. It's blatant. It's blatant. All right. Ooh, there's the old
they had to put that in.
The drone, yeah.
Learning throughout this journey was something that I would have never seen coming.
Big up to God because he has a funny way. He has a funny way of humbling people.
This is not what we agreed to. You guys are changing the rules. If that's what you guys want your legacy to be, that's...
Oh, sorry. Go on.
The scandal.
It is. Complete.
Okay.
Scammers.
It's a scandal.
We can't just have a discussion about maybe just staying here?
The original.
I'm not even sure that any of us would object to it.
What's that on the walls? Antarctica logistics and expedition.
Yeah, but that's their what's the name in the camp itself.
Unfortunately,
The greatest conspiracy of all time. Oh. Well, they did make it kind of dramatic, what they're supposed to do, so they did the job.
Yeah. How you doing, Cookie?
What's up, Ryan?
So they did conspire. We can agree on that.
Meets its final test. Well, I'm going to go for that, guys.
Go for it.
The greatest conspiracy, which is flat is still not a conspiracy, meets a final test, which is not the final test because he has more final tests, as he keeps saying.
It keeps coming. Yep.
And why is he saying a test now and not experiment? I thought he said it's experiment.
Well, you get it as a test, but it is an experiment.
Is he trying to, trying to sit in the fence, huh?
Around wide experience coming 2025. Woohoo! Thank you. Looking forward to that.
So am I, Flatzoid. So am I. They are dumb as fuck, aren't they? Those guys, really.
Pretty much.
And dishonest. Yeah, I want to point out one thing, and then I'll shut up. I promise. But these Flatzoid said that he told Jonathan that it was going to be in April.
Right.
What actually happened was Jonathan told Flatzoid it was going to be in April.
Right.
And the rest of his panel agreed with him without having any idea what actually happened.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I've seen the clip of that. Such a liar.
It's laziness.
Yeah.
That's what, I don't understand this. Therefore, I won't look into it. I'll just assume it's a fake.
Well, he asked us hypothetical questions of Globies. What a shame he's never going to get the answer, seeing he's not interacting with them anymore.
Yeah.
He's a hapless contrarian, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Right.
That's the best phrase.
Right. He's just rubbish.
Got to be pushing someone's buttons. He's not typing anything meaningful, but he's pushing the buttons all the time.
I did laugh out loud when he took all that time to talk about the clouds in the sky, and then the next three clips that showed the sky had no clouds in them. Yeah. I laughed out loud at that little thing.
And there's that whole confusion over the sun and the camera, the sun rays and all that, wasn't there? They were just...
Right.
It's a different fucking camera, you idiot. That's why the shadows aren't blue and why the sun looks like that.
Right.
That couldn't possibly be the answer.
Fractions, right.
It must be a different sun.
Apparently, it's the number of plates that make up the iris of the camera. And you get one of those. Aperture. You get one of those rays for each one of the little, where the
same with satellites.
Right.
Yeah, and in this case, the reason why there are 18 rays because there are 9 blades. The parts where the blades intersect is another point where the diffraction spikes occur as well.
Right.
So 9 blades for 18 spikes.
Right, okay. God, sorry, I'm sitting here yawning like crazy. I don't know why. Maybe I know why. I haven't had any Coke today, that's why.
It's Flatzoid. It's a natural thing.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, he means the pop.
I was finding myself getting very, very frustrated with the confidence level of being so stupid.
Right.
I think it's a hill that they would actually die on, and it's sad, but also makes me angry at the same time.
So true. And finally, a late addition to the show. Oakley gets kicked and banned from the politics server in the middle of his show. Enjoy.
Obviously, those are the days where I had a bit less control over what was going on my show.
All of Africa is gone because I hate them. The gay is gone for good. Join my clan called Ku Klux. Clan we execute the black nigger.
Also, often closet racists that do it, I've noticed. They want the word to come through the airwaves. Now, I've got no issue saying the word like hearing the word no worries. Doesn't mean anything unless there's some connotation behind it. Like, I mean something when I say it. Like, if I say it because I've got some disdain towards black people, then it means something. Saying the word through the airwaves isn't going to mean anything to anybody. It doesn't mean anything. It's the feeling, the emotion. It's the reason for saying it has meaning.
That's the spirit.
You say it because you hate black people. That has weight behind it. I love black people. I love all people, Globers included.
Oh, I love them too. So can I say that's my?
Only I can say that. No, you cannot.
He's talking about you. You are a half black woman, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, it's my word, not yours. Don't you use it. Only I can say you do not get to use my word. On a similar vein, you Globers don't get to use things like elevation angle measurements to Polaris to describe an equator on a ball because it's a flat Earth measurement. It's an angle measurement, a minimum, which you could strictly say, well, it's beyond the limitation of the.
Yo, what is this old British guy yapping about? Does he really think the Earth is flat?
Well, it looks like I've been booted out of the channel. It says I've been suppressed from the channel. So someone's had enough of me talking and overzealous moderator has removed me from politics. Okay, well, that's the end of my Friday show, halfway through.
What?
It was an overzealous moderator.
Could someone take the mic off that guy? Could someone take the mic off that guy? Could someone take the mic off that guy?
He said the N-word 7 times in 45 seconds. It's an overzealous moderator.
What? Why did they remove you? What? I don't even understand why.
Yeah.
Was that Chief Squatting Dog there at the end?
No, that was Neil Constantino, I think his name is, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
He's a real ass kisser, isn't he? Just.
Yeah, he's a pimple in the deepest crevice of Nathan Oakley's buttocks.
Right, he really.
No, I meant the guy that said the old British guy yapping.
I don't know who that was. That was just some random in politics. I don't know who that was.
It was, yeah, it was.
I included it because I just, we hear all this stuff about how all the young believe flat Earth and how there's a million of them in Brazil and all of this sort of thing. And I just thought it's quite good to just hear someone, the sort of disdain and ultimate rejection that guy had for the idea. Just thought it's ridiculous.
Are you all right, John Panda?
What?
Are you good, mate?
Hello. Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah.
I'm good. I've just had a 9-day drinking session. I'm sober tomorrow.
All right. Let's not do this now because we're in the middle of a live show.
Oh, sorry.
So, did anyone else have a comment to make?
Is that a word that can be? Is that a word that can be said in England? I mean, it's a no in America.
No, it's definitely not.
No, of course not.
I was just wondering if it's sort of like the C word in Australians,
Yeah.
No. So the text chat, Doofus put a screenshot up, but I saw it too in the moment of someone saying the Globies are so racist, or so many Globies are racist, in the middle of Oakley doing that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Adam Price. He's actually somebody who's got a bot for him to post stuff on Discord, so he's not really a real person most of the time.
Right. There's that clip you showed of from his side of things, in his server. That was a delicious part just before that when he's talking and that some of the people are talking the other side, and he hasn't realised he's been booted. There are people that appear to be talking over. He's going, oh, right, yeah, you go now. And then there's in the background you see him click on the thing and a banner come up half concealed saying you've been blocked.
Oh right, I missed that.
There was 30 seconds when he thought he was interacting with people and they just couldn't hear a fucking word he was saying.
What a knobhead.
I know. I don't know where he's going these days. He just seems to be he's just more appalling as time goes on.
Right, he really is, isn't he? Just pitiful. They all are now, though. It's like the worst of the worst that are left, isn't it? It's the religious nuts. It's the biggest liars and con men. It's it's the worst.
I mean, it's a teenage kind of. Well, if I don't say the word directly to someone or mean anything, it's just a word. So he's fucking nearly 50.
Right. It's so, and he's just wrong. He's just flat out fucking wrong what he was saying. The word itself has been used to denigrate black people for a long, long time. And I get that it has, this other version, an A on the end and all this bollocks that you can, some people can say, but I don't buy that. I don't think anybody should be saying that word.
No, it has in the UK anyway. It hasn't been well. It's been an absolute no-no in film and media since the 1950s.
Right.
Absolute no-no.
All right, well, that was me show. We've been going for just over 3 hours, so I think that's long enough. Thank you to everyone who super chatted the show. Thanks to everyone who joined us on YouTube, and especially thanks to everyone who's here on the panel making the show happen. I'll be back. We will be back in 2 weeks from now, as always, at 10 p.m. British summertime. It is now. So, hope to see you then. Thanks very much for being here. Have a good evening.
Stop talking about it and do something! Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate. We have another benevolent starter. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent? It's your friends over.
My name's Logan Hall, and I think I'm coming out of my closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat Earth person. Not how the first lady. Not how the flat Earth. And things making sense.